Welcome in, guys, to another episode of Chunk Chat. Today I have KrakwithaK, a Varlamore one chunk account who has recently gotten a quiver. That's pretty cool.
Indeed, I have.
hmm
Hello, hello. How are you all doing? You
Yeah,
can
so
answer that in the comments. I'm
yeah,
saying hi.
answer in the comments how we doing today. But yeah, crazy accomplishment. Congrats on that. And
Thank you very much.
yeah, just the amount of skill that went into that achievement for me personally was amazing to watch. And like the first thing I wanted to get into, let's get right into it. Like, how is the feeling of getting a quiver on an account like this?
Don't really believe it, eh? Like, I knew I'd be going in for the quiver. Like, making a Varlamore one chunk Iron Man is it's the thing. It's like, if you're Telecon and you're starting in a volcano, you know what's there, and I know what's there starting in Varlamore. So, like, the Coliseum was going to be something that I'm going to have to deal with some way or other. And, it took me about a year to get it done, basically. It's, what, 2 or 3 weeks ago was the 1 year anniversary of Varlamore. So
Wow.
it's been out for that long. And the whole time I was thinking about how do I do this? And to have that like whole year of planning and practice and stuff be like, not exactly behind me because now I got to bless the quiver, so I'm going to do a whole lot more Coliseum. But to have the pinnacle important bit be done feels like kind of unbelievable. It's kind of surreal.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Like, just the mechanics of it too. I mean, it's a whole different ball game from playing just like a normal count. Like, I know that
it's
you
a
were,
lot of prayer flicking. It's
yeah,
a lot of prayer
yeah, I
flicking.
can imagine.
Whew.
Yeah. So I know that you practice on another account. How much practice went into something like this?
So my Iron Man has about 30 completions. My main has one or two. On leagues, I farmed out the Echo Soul pet, so that just
Mm.
helped me get really comfortable in the soul fight itself. And when I did the first quiver on my Iron Man, I think the stat was I had 163 deaths in the Coliseum before I managed to get one. But that was like starting on day one when there's like no guides or things, because I was semi recently, I guess, had got comfortable in the Inferno, and like I was looking for what's the next thing I want to tackle, and with the Colosseum coming out, I was like, oh, that I'm excited for that. I want to do that. So when it came
Mhm.
out, I just jumped straight in, and it was pretty horrific, honestly. That put me in my place, that one. And then as the weeks went by and guides started coming out, it got a lot more efficient, and I finally got my quiver. And then I really enjoyed getting the quiver. So instead of doing the wave one farming to bless it, I went and just kept doing Soul KC and really enjoyed it. And now I've green logged it on my Iron Man. In about 30 completions, I
Oh,
managed to get the Soul Pet and the toenails. So, so that was quite lucky as well. So I have a very good relationship with the Coliseum. But like a lot of the things I was doing while I was playing my Iron Man in there was figuring out how do I how does this change if I'm doing it on the one chunk account? Like, let's imagine I need to be in this same prayer flick here, and I need to be able to keep this cycle going for 5 minutes, sort of thing. Because that's like a ranger can take anywhere from like 3 to 4 minutes to kill, sort of thing,
mhm.
on my chunk account. So that makes the waves really long. So any prayer flicks I'm doing have to be like I need to be totally in the rhythm. There's no DPS solutions. I can't just like click the mini mage and wait for it to die.
Yeah,
So it's planning
exactly.
that sort of stuff all right from the start, because it wasn't just going for my Iron Man. It was always like I want to figure out how a chunk account would do this if someone possibly could, and then turns out someone possibly can.
You end up being that guy. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
A
So
little bit of inspiration from watching like what's that guy Hemonk, who did the free to play gear
mm,
Coliseum and
yeah, I
doing it
saw
with
that.
like no prayer pots and such. So
Mm,
seeing that beforehand, I'm like, well, because that he got that like I don't know what 5-6 months before I got mine or something, so it was way ahead of me. And I think at that point I had the Colosseum unlocked, so I was looking at it being like, well, I guess it's possible. I shouldn't. I need to be learning from this and figuring out what I'm doing.
Yeah, that that was definitely like an impressive quiver that he got for sure. But I feel like the big difference between his and yours would be that he is able to kind of choose what he brings in. I mean, it has to be free to play for sure,
Yeah,
but he can kind
like
of
I've done a lot of
choose.
thought about what the differences in those setups are. First one being like the rune scimitar.
Mhm.
I would love a rune scimitar. Oh my god, the 2H is so slow.
Yeah.
I was like, I must have done that DPS calc like 30 times. Every time I changed anything, I'm like, surely an Addy scimitar is better than a rune 2H, right? And nope,
Mhm.
no, it's really not. Soul's just too tanky. That accuracy matters way too much. So
Yeah,
that's nice. And
it's
the other big
crazy.
difference for the waves is he's got the uh, 99 range and a magic short bow with like dehides. And that helps wave solving a lot. But the thing that's much harder from his setup is doing it without prayer pots. That's insane.
Yeah. Mhm.
I don't think I've got the mechanical skill to do it with no prayer pots just yet.
Yeah, that's a lot of perfect gameplay for sure. Um,
Hmm.
I think somebody else also did one with like I think it was members, but it was like a 5K budget or something
Yeah,
like
there's
that.
been a couple of like
10K
really
maybe.
silly people doing it. I've
Yeah.
seen, was it No Monkey did it? Did Soul Herod it without a weapon?
Yeah, it's something
Like,
like that. Like, I mean, the boss for sure, you could definitely like take no damage.
yeah, you can't like.
It's
That's
possible,
something that's
so
like really nice about it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
got this nice flow that you can just sit in, and your DPS doesn't matter that much. Like if you've got a scythe but you can't do the pattern, you're just gonna die. And
mhm.
if you've got a rune 2H but you can do the pattern, you just have a 14-minute fight and it's all okay.
Yeah. And not making a big mistake for 14 minutes is definitely quite the marathon too, for sure.
Yeah, it's just I think it was don't make 10 mistakes because I've got Doom 2 at that point.
Yeah, that's even more pressure. Wow. Yeah, like I've dabbled in the Coliseum, but I've never picked Doom. I mean, of course it used to be a lot worse, but um for
Yeah,
sure like I
old Doom was insane.
mhm.
New Doom is, I don't know, Doom 3, 15 mistakes. Like the chance of you making 15 mistakes and not being already dead is basically zero. So that invocation is free.
Mhm.
10 mistakes is like, you're probably fine. Every now and then you might die to 10 mistakes on a wave. But in the five mistakes, that goes by really fast. Doom
Mhm.
3 is kind of brutal. And that was my, so I got 2 attempts on the boss. In the first attempt, I had Doom 3, and yeah, I just got doomed.
Yeah.
Really hard to go that long and come out of all the specials when you're like changing sides of the boss because you're running out of room
Mhm.
and remember where in the cycle you are. I think there was a whole bunch of times where like, right, I just got to guess. I don't actually know what attack is next. And at that point, you just the fight's too long for me to worry about that on Doom 3 with the 5 stacks, but the Doom 2 was enough that I can forget where I am in the cycle and be okay.
Mhm.
Then the other thing was the frailty 3, so I had 53 or 54 hit points or something, which is pretty much fine because the only thing that can actually one hit that is the yellow lines.
Mhm.
But like the yellow lines are going to kill you from like 80 health or whatever, 70. I don't remember what their max hit is. So it didn't really change anything. It makes it look crazy, but it's really not. The max health doesn't change anything.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess that's probably more of an issue on the waves for sure. But
Yeah, it's not really even an issue on the waves, to be honest, because like the way I'm doing this account is that if you take damage, I'm just gonna die. I need to be fine flicking everything.
mhm.
So the HP pool doesn't really impact anything. If something's gonna kill me from 50, it's gonna kill me from 99. It means like if I don't heal to full, then if I make just one mistake in a flick, I could die. But like The only thing that can hit the 50s are the Minotaurs, which generally I'd be safe spotting, and the big mages, which you just got to focus up when those are on you. Everything else is underneath that max hit anyway, so it's like totally safe.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it for sure. Is definitely an invocation like that can be kind of daunting, even if on like a main account if you're just learning. But yeah, that's a good way
Yeah,
of
if
putting
you're
it.
learning, I wouldn't take it, because when you're learning, you're gonna take heaps of hits. You're gonna take hits all the time when you're learning, and to be able to have the chance to recover from it that's really important. But once you've done like, I don't know, 50 to 100 soul fights sort of thing, yeah, then your max health doesn't matter anymore.
Fair enough, yeah. Just for anybody who might be listening and not know much about your account, can you give a little bit of a rundown of what chunks you had before you got to the Coliseum and kind of what your gear was like while doing this?
Yeah, so I started in Varlamore just at the Quetzal, where the Quetzal lands. And like I'd committed to this before Varlamore even came out.
Mm.
Like looking at the Varlamore release came out, I was like, I'm going to do a one chunk account. And I committed to it by making an episode 0 video doing prep stuff before Varlamore launched. I'm like, I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be a thing. Don't back out, crack. And so then I start at the Quetzal and Varrock, and I basically roll the Bazaar in the middle, which has lots of skilling stuff. I get the sword shop in Fortis, which is really nice. So that's got the adamant scimitar. That made me feel really good.
Oh yeah.
And then I basically rolled across to the Colosseum. The only other big thing I unlocked on the way was like the sand crabs, which
Mhm.
sound really good, and I was so excited for them, but they're not aggressive, so I can't AFK train combat there. I don't actually have a single aggressive monster in any of my chunks.
Sand crabs aren't
I've
aggressive there?
got... No, the sand crabs, they're not like in their little rock states on the ground. They're just wandering around and they don't attack you,
Really? Oh,
which
I didn't know
is
that
such a
was.
troll.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was a spot like that. That's crazy.
If you keep going down the coast, you get to normal sand crabs, but no, not these ones. These ones I can't AFK train combat. If I could, I would have gone in with like full 99s. It would have been so much more chill, but having to click every single one, oh, nightmare. Anyway,
Oh,
at that point I rolled the Colosseum. I had no prayer restore and I had an adamant scimitar. Actually, no, I had a rune mace. The rune mace was from the shop
mm.
just south of the bank near Fortis. And at that point, I could do some of the Colosseum. I could get, I think wave 9 was my PB, but I didn't have prayer restore, and I was just really struggling to get any further. So anything from there really stayed on the backlog at that point. I guess I would put that in what most chunkers call the meme grind category.
Yeah,
And
definitely
then I
fair.
rolled the Quetzal out to Varrock, so I had all these ways to get off Varlamore, and it was charter ships or the Quetzal. And I rolled the Quetzal, so now the charter ships are off the table. And then from there, I got Varrock Center, and that was just like the most amazing roll because it's got a rune shop and an arrow shop, and that's just a gift from Jagex itself. That
Exactly,
was
yeah.
really nice. So that lets me train mage and range without worrying, and I can bring mage and range into the Colosseum and use them and not have to think about, oh, I need to grind this for runes.
Yeah, that's
But
definitely a
it
tough
still
thing with
didn't.
chunk count is like not having ammunition. That's definitely a tough thing for sure. And I
Yeah.
feel that as well. So
The
definitely
ammunition
blessed.
isn't actually the problem. So, I mean, the high level ammunition is like the adamant arrows, but
Mhm.
like bronze arrows, I've got full access to smithing.
Yeah.
So, which I'm sure we'll get into smithing at some point in this, but we won't talk about smithing now. Uh, but I've got full access to be able to make my own arrows, so it would be a bit of a skilling grind, but like I was never too worried about getting arrows. It was the runes was the really big one, and the arrow shop just upgraded the arrows that I was happy to use. So now I use adamant arrows for dealing with the Fremenix, and I just throw bronze arrows anytime I'm safe spotting a Minotaur because just save some GP. Anyway, so I've rolled Varrock at this point, and I still don't have prayer restore. But there's a thing up in the Forthus Kothon. That's the place with the charter ship in Varlamore.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's a house with all these thieves in it. And on the table in there's a snape grass that you can't pick up because it's one tile back on the table. So anytime... I guess I should go back to my episode 0. One thing in the episode 0, I unlocked Rune Mysteries and Druidic Ritual, because when I was going into this series, looking at all what the grinds that the big chunkers have been doing, Verf and Limpwort and such, and they were getting a lot of the same grinds as each other at that point, and there were lots of the other sort of, us regular mortal chunkers that are getting like Briarfighter and Scarius, and lots of people were doing really just similar things to each other at that time. And I saw that, I was like, I really want to play a chunk account. I love this idea. Chunk account seems like such a cool way to play this game. But I don't want to just do the same thing as everyone else is doing. I want it to be my unique journey, and I was thinking about ways that I could make my journey different. And one thing that I saw was Druidic Ritual seemed like a problem for everyone, because you just unlock it and then there's the 99 cape in your area, which, I mean, I'm not doing 99 capes anyway at the moment, but we can get to that at some other point. So I decided I'm going to unlock Druidic Ritual beforehand, so I might be one of the first people that actually does this really silly herb lore grind. So like, I'm going to be killing men and cleaning the herbs to train herb lore, which I did a bit. And that meant that as soon as I get the snape grass in this like little hut that I can telegrab, but I don't have lore runes, then I can make prayer pots. And that was the thing that was really stopping me from getting the Coliseum, is if I ever got a lore rune from anywhere, I can do the Coliseum. And then I rolled the Lumberyard. The Lumberyard at Varrock. And I didn't think that was a big deal. It had the Earth Altar, so I was going to train a little bit of rune crafting. Seeing as I did Rune Mysteries, I could train up to making Sunfire runes and Varlamore. That was kind of cool. But then in the pub there, where you start Defender of Varrock, there's a Black Knight. And I saw this on the way over, and I went and I killed it. I was like, huh. Cool, I didn't know this was here, and I used that little wiki lookup button and I clicked on it, and on its drop table was lore runes. And I'm like, oh, okay, things just got real. And that meant that I needed to train up to making prayer pots from basically cleaning herbs. And I kill this Black Knight for this 1 in 64 lore rune drop, and I telegrab some snape grass, and I can make myself a couple of prayer potions. And at that point, that's the chunk I'm in, and I'm still in, and have been in for almost 200 days, and will be in for another... it's probably going to be about a year in this one chunk.
Oh, yeah?
Somewhere around there. Hard to tell exactly, because I've still got some RNG grinds left to do with... I still don't have the Sunfire legs, and I need to bless the quiver, which RNG can help a lot with. If I get those just like thousands of Sunfire Splinter drops, so I have no idea what my rate on that's going to be. But anyway, we're going to be here for another few months probably. And I'm going in, so the gear I've got for it... I'll bring up my setup. Where are we? Is my melee gear is I'm using Sunfire Fanatic top and helm for big prayer bonus, and Dragon Plate legs. I managed to get an Amulet of Power trimmed from an Easy Clue, which is insane RNG. That is so nice. And I've got a Rune Mace, and that's what I'm doing most of the waves with, just hitting stuff with a Rune Mace, because it's just best DPS on anything by far, and it's not close.
Yeah,
and then for...
bit of prayer too on it, which is nice. A lot of people don't know about that.
It is nice, actually, but I would trade that prayer bonus for any tiny scrap of DPS.
Yeah, fair enough.
The prayer bonus does help, but once I had prayer pots, the prayer bonus is not nearly as important anymore. Like,
true.
Before I unlocked prayer pots, my prayer bonus was like directly proportional to how far I could get through the Coliseum. Because anytime any monster spawned in the mid, I just had to pray against it while I was dealing with the Fremenix, and I'm not good enough to flick it. So yeah, the prayer bonus was really good then, but now I just commit a dose of prayer potion to those waves and I'm totally fine.
Yeah.
And then I've got a yew short bow, which I fletched myself from lamping up to get young implings, to get the bowstring, and cutting yew trees. And that's what I deal with safe spotting things with, because the range is so much faster than the mage in there. And I've got death runes that I'm just using for the Fremenix. And then I've got my rune 2H, and the rune 2H is specifically just used for soul,
Mm-hmm.
because it's my best DPS on there. The slash accuracy is way too important, and anything that gives slash accuracy is by far the biggest upgrades on a really low gear setup. So the rune scimitar would have been amazing if there was a way to get that. And actually, the best thing would have been if a mystery box gave me a dragon spear. That would have been nice. Oh, I would have loved one of those.
That would
No
have
such
been
luck
crazy
though.
RNG.
That would
Crazy.
have been crazy RNG. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't complain. I did get the stale baguette. So,
Mm-hmm.
swings and roundabouts on that one. But that was basically the setup. Half Sunfire, a rune mace for the waves, and then swapping it out to a rune 2H for doing Soul Herit.
Yeah, well, crazy setup, but yeah, some decent upgrades in there for sure. Definitely
Yeah.
the dragon plate legs was seemed like
Yeah,
that
the
was
Dragon Plate
pretty
legs
nice.
come from the Coliseum itself, and that
Mm-hmm.
was like the Coliseum just has lots of upgrades in it. The Rune 2H is from the Coliseum. My Rune Kite Shield I'm using from the Coliseum. The Sunfire top and bottom and Dragon Plate legs, all from the Coliseum. Like it gives a lot of gear upgrades, which I guess isn't surprising for a piece of end game content, but
Yeah, yeah, kind of like a raid
it's
in a
setting
way
the
too.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like your setup looks like, hey, I've got all the stuff from raids, and my setup, I've got a lot of stuff from the Coliseum. Surprise,
exactly.
surprise.
Yeah, would have thought. But yeah, going back to the rules part though, a lot of people
Yeah.
are not fans of people who deviate from the rules, but I'm quite the opposite. I think like a lot of different kind of play styles is what makes this game mode like it's best, honestly. Like just the kind of herblore grind that you got seems like exactly the kind of grind any chunk count would get in a way with probably crafting or smithing. We'll definitely get into smithing, but like
That's
other
what goddamn
skills,
smithing.
yeah. In like some way there's
Yeah,
like this obscure kind of monster that might have this special drop you need to train it, or yeah, just like
exactly.
some
It was a
obscure
very
thing.
Chunkman style skill. It's just it happened to
Yeah.
be on Herblore because I decided to unlock it rather than, oh, this gives you, I don't know, a diamond and you have to cut the diamond, but you don't have a way to train crafting except for spinning flax drops that you get from this random creature that you have to walk
Mhm.
100 miles to the bank for, both ways uphill.
Yeah, yeah, it's such a chunk-esque kind of thing, but you would have never
Yeah.
gotten that if you didn't unlock herblore, which is fine because
Yeah,
we got
I'm really
thousands of
happy it
chunkmen.
actually mattered.
Yeah, thousands of chunkmen who don't unlock herblore. Like having one or two here and there is definitely really cool to spice up the kind of content. So I do like
Yeah,
that personally, and I think that it's really cool um to see those grinds in from your shoes, honestly. So yeah,
yeah, that's what I was really looking for, is just more Chunkman content, because I love Chunkman content. Oh, I love watching chunk accounts. It's
mhm.
such good such good viewing. But I want to like I don't want to watch the same thing again. And the reason I decided to not go extreme is there was a Varlamore map, and in the main city on Varlamore there was an estate agent, and I think Limpwort was in the middle of bagged plants. So it's
Yeah,
like, I don't want to just start a chunk account, jump straight into the same things. So right off the bat, I'm just not going to do skill capes, because I know there's going to be a construction skill cape within like one or two chunks of wherever I start. So that's why I
mhm.
decided to not be an extreme account right at the start, was just trying to find I don't know if a niche is the right word, but something to make my journey feel like something that other people haven't done yet.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like that's kind of exactly what it is. Like people just do the same grinds over and over. They're
Yeah,
just not going to be able
that's what
to
my Iron
branch
Man's
out.
for.
Yeah, exactly.
My Iron Man can do all the normal grinds. I can go grind out a Boffer and such on that one, but
Yeah, you kind of see it
on
with
this account,
every Iron Man progress video nowadays. They're basically doing the same
exactly.
thing as everybody else. So yeah, some sort of
Yeah, and I love
variance.
those things.
Yeah,
Like
me too, but
I
like
love all the RuneScape
thousandth
grinds, but I
time.
wanted something. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But I mean, that's why I like when new updates come in and it kind of changes the meta, and then the next new Iron Man thing,
yep.
or like with the farmers coming out with a new version, they're doing different
Oh,
stuff this
love them.
time, which is nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
lots there. It's going through the perilous moons,
yeah,
which is
which yeah wasn't a
such a
thing.
cool update for playing Iron Man. I think the gear in Perilous Moons is a little too powerful for how easy the content is, personally, but
Hmm.
like I like the gear that drops from it, and I like the content, so I'm not mad. It's just it feels like it could have been toned down a little bit, maybe,
Yeah, yeah,
but I'm not complaining. It's not like changing any metas for like late game. It's not BIS, so it doesn't really matter.
yeah. Definitely just kind of spices up the mid game a bit, and they're definitely
It
very
certainly does.
unique, and they all have their own kind of downsides as well. They're obviously not very tanky, and they have to be used correctly in order to be like
Yeah,
useful.
and that's why I like the gear. Like I like the drops how they are. The drops are super cool. Pretty much all three of the sets.
Hmm.
I don't know about the full set of Blue Moon, but I like
Yeah,
that the spare can auto cast Ancients. It's another option for
hmm,
getting something for that to have a auto cast Ancients with some more spell damage on it.
yeah. That one's definitely more of a PK setup. Not that it's even the set effects
I
not
don't think
used
I've
too
even
much,
seen
but
anyone really using it.
I think
Probably some
it's pretty cool in PvP. Like you bash with the spear and then you can like one tick anything after it. So you see like
cool.
people bash with the spear and then like you see an AGS like the spiral like coming out of an AGS when they're bashing the spear because they can one tick into it. It's pretty cool, but like it's not meta or anything, so
Yeah,
it doesn't get used often enough. I feel, but yeah,
it's
definitely
just
a cool set.
for Iron Man. It feels like an basically a different option than ARMS, but doing the same thing. So if you do your barrows and you don't get a full set of ARMS, you can very easily just go to Perilous Moons and you know you can get a full Blue Moon set. Like you can farm out whatever you want from that place. It's really
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it adds to the progression too, because mainly you want to go to Barrows, get the tank gear, and then go to Moons. So
Exactly,
it
yeah.
doesn't
They
replace
work
it.
together. It's nice.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else on
And really
Varlamore
getting
that you like for content that's there?
I really like Hunter Guild, Hunter Rumors.
Hmm.
Obviously haven't done it on the Chunk account yet, haven't got there, but I think it's great. Another really good option for training Hunter. Very competitive XP rates. Like if you're tick nipping chins, you're getting pretty similar. I think chins can be slightly higher XP, but not like huge amount higher XP. But Hunter Rumors are so much more chill, so much more varied, and like insanely good XP rates with
Hmm.
cool rewards. Like it's just a fun training method. Big fan.
Yeah, it was a good
Varlamore
addition.
Part 2, I don't know, was a bit mid for me. The Herblore minigame's kind of nice, but the bossing stuff there was the Wakewaddle is kind of it's there, I guess.
Yeah,
In
that's
the
how I feel about it too. It's kind of cool that you can do it at kind of a low level in like groups and stuff.
yeah,
Um,
and
if
the Ice Quest boss,
mhm,
what's it called? Amoxiliatl, that one.
mhm.
I think that's really fun. I like that. I haven't had any reason to do it because it's a very low level boss, but I'm actually
Yeah,
a big fan of that one. It just has like no impact on how I play the game.
yeah,
but I think it's cool that you can fight it.
it's not really like anything game changing for sure, but it's kind of a fun fight. Uh, Definitely if you were like learning PVM 2, it's definitely it could teach you a few mechanics as well for end game stuff. So That's probably why
Yeah, it's
they
got
put
some
it in the
nice
first place.
movement. You can one-tick click the boulder things,
Hmm.
some turning your prayer back on when things turn it off. That's something that you'll face in lots of other things. I reckon that boss is criminally underrated,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's also underrated in a way that the correct rating for it is still kind of mid. It's above mid. It's a
Mhm.
nice boss, but it's just not impactful at all. You can get, I don't know, drops that you can also get just from farming out the low-level Slayer creature around there, and
Yeah.
that's the only. You can get the teleporty pendant, but I don't think anyone's that bothered about the teleports on it.
No, they're okay. Maybe we'll see more in like part 3, but it doesn't seem as useful
I'm
as
really
like,
looking forward to part 3.
yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah, what are your thoughts on what's coming with Varlamore part 3?
I am very excited. The Delve boss, I reckon, is going to be great. I have very high hopes for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think since since Desert Treasure 2, I think basically every piece of high level content they've been putting out, they have been absolutely nailing it.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I thought Desert Treasure 2 spectacular, probably one of my favorite updates ever. That quest is amazing, and then the bosses in it are, I think they're all really good. People like, they're very sorry words. They're very different.
Yeah.
In like Vardorvis is obviously the most popular one. Yep, great boss. I've been doing that a bit recently, but I think the other three all are, they feel totally different, but at a kind of a similar difficulty level, which is nice. And then they've got the
Mhm.
awakened versions for like a really big challenge.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Love
Yeah.
that update. Coliseum, while the invocation system's like not perfect, basically everything else about the content is perfect.
Yeah, it's so difficult to
Absolute banger.
balance invocations too, so they definitely saw that with TOA as well, so
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
So
think that they're gonna do
I don't
much
think they're
more.
coming back anytime soon. The Delve
Yeah.
boss has, is it the Delve? No, it's the Duo boss has the like pact thing, but that's, from what I understand, is not like invocations where you're choosing modifiers. Is instead you're like choosing different fights, as you can do the fight on this level, or you can do the hard mode fight, or you can do the super hard mode fight, or you, rather than like mixing and matching and trying to make all these things work together,
Mm.
which is sort of what the invocations were doing. But very excited for that because I think they've just had a really good hit rate with doing high level content. So, new high level content, I am instantly hyped for. Plus, that bug thing looks super sick. The trailer for the Delve boss, like,
Is
I
it
just love
is it a bug?
the design. It's like a bug with a like shield thing in front of it.
I don't think I've seen it.
It's got like a mask, and the mask like opens up, and there's a bug behind the mask. Look it up. It's amazing.
I'll
Big
try to
fan of
remember
the
it so I can put it
like
on
the visual
screen.
design on it.
Yeah, make a note of that for sure. Do you think it's gonna like anything with part 3? Do you think it's really gonna affect chunk counts at all? I had a
I imagine not
theory
for a while. Yeah,
theory
what's your
about
theory?
uh access to Corinne. Like Varlamore chunkers will be able
Yeah.
to get into Corinne from there. But I think it's gonna require the quest, so I don't think chunkers like me who start in Corinne are gonna be able to get to Varlamore without the quest
I
though,
think you're probably
unfortunately.
right. I think I'm going to be able to get out, but you're not going to be able to get in. There's
Yeah,
going to be like guards at the gate, and the guards are going to be like, nah, not you. You're not cool enough. You can't
yeah.
come down here. But then I'll walk in from behind and just stroll through.
I mean, it would be
So
cool if they did like make a way that you could like sneak in or something. I don't know, but
it would be
because I would
cool,
love to get
actually.
to
Imagine there's
Varlamore,
an
but
agility shortcut round the back, or maybe not agility because it's a pain in the ass to train.
maybe it's
Maybe
like
there's a boulder you
thieving
push
and
with your
just
strength.
or that too. Yeah, like God Wars.
Yeah, something like that. Exactly. A way to get it. I think that would be cool as
That'd
well,
be
is
cool.
that
Yeah,
like Children of the Sun is the legit way to get into Varlamore, but you can sneak in the back.
yeah.
That'd
Maybe
be
you
that'd be
can't
sick.
use some things and obviously like start the quests you wouldn't be able to, but
Yeah.
if you could like use most of the things, hopefully Coliseum, but like maybe some things will be like you're not allowed to be here, like, and then kick you out or something. But just an interesting thought. But I'm kind of thinking that they won't, but we'll see. We'll see.
That would be my guess too, is that you probably won't be able to get in without the quest still,
Yeah.
but it would be cool.
Hmm. Do you think you'll be able to do the delve boss if you were to get there on your chunk count?
Yeah, I think I will.
Yeah.
I am assuming by the time I get there on my chunk account, I've had a lot of practice and I've seen the best gamers in the world take it on. And obviously, anytime I'm playing that on my Iron Man, I'm going to be thinking about the strats for the chunk account, same as I did with the Coliseum. So I would be surprised, unless there's something with like strict DPS check sort of stuff,
Yeah.
where you've got like think like TOA on Wardens, where you have to kill the core, that sort of thing. That's what my chunk account's going to really struggle with, because I would do Wardens with like a 30 down, because I just can't damage the core fast enough. And then at that point, with the chip damage, I just run out of supplies. Like TOA, that bit would be impossible for this account at the moment. So anything like that is just gonna stop my chunk account in its tracks. Anything with a like strict DPS check, but I'm not expecting that sort of thing. There's very few bosses like that.
Mhm.
Usually the mechanics are not asking you to do damage, the mechanics are trying to kill you. And I'm assuming with enough practice, I'll be able to get to the point where I know how to not die to those mechanics, and then at that point I just do a long ass boss fight and I'll be able to take it down. So yeah, I think we'll be fine with that one.
Yeah.
It'll obviously be a lot of work and it'll be such good content. I really hope I get access to it,
Definitely excited for that.
because
Yeah.
that would be banger video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially with like something new like that. I mean, it's kind of like that with Colosseum too. It's still, kind of new content and be able to
Yeah, it still feels
get there.
newish to me.
Yeah.
I've been doing it a lot, but it manages to still be fresh, and I'm still discovering like new strategies I can use on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really cool, that I wasn't sort of expecting. Like, as of a few months ago, I thought I'd basically figured out everything I'd be using. But even like last week, I figured out new places I can stand to drag enemies in different ways and pull like single mobs out of stacks so I can flick them regularly and not be dealing with huge, horrible stacks of monsters, stuff like that. So it's been really nice.
Always learning, yeah. So when did you start doing PVM in RuneScape? When did you get into that?
Well, my first experience with bossing at all was with Zolra, was my first boss. I'm sure that's the same with a lot of people, but it was on my, I guess you'd call it a main account, where I got a Slayer task. I was doing Slayer, and I unlocked Boss Slayer, and I got assigned Zolra, and the correct thing to do would have been to skip that task, because I was not ready for it, but I was stubborn. So instead of skipping it, I just figured, okay, I was going to learn Zolra with my Iban Blast and Rune Crossbow. And it was really difficult, and it took me ages, and it was very slow, but I did it, and that was really cool. So right from the start, it's been doing PVM stuff with scuff gear, I guess, but then I think things started to be sort of clicking that PVMing was something I really liked when I decided that my Iron Man needed raids prayers, and the good old social anxiety made me not want to find teams, so I committed to learning solo chambers. So
Yeah.
instead of just finding teams and sitting on the melee hand with a whip going whoosh and getting heaps of points, instead I was learning 4-1 and mage running and having heaps of fun. Turns out I love solo Olm. That fight is wonderful.
Yeah. It's so much fun.
Other than sucking down staminas, not so much anymore though. The run energy changes, absolute peak.
Huge,
But,
yeah. Yeah.
Like, you still need stamina for it unless you're absolutely pumping. But
yeah, I
feels
mean,
really
even on
nice.
a
So
max main, you still do, but definitely like one stamina pot, maybe a little bit
yeah,
more.
exactly. And
There's that prayer too. People use a lot. That uses your prayer
yeah,
points for, or not prayer. It's a spell, but yeah, it uses your prayer points for run
the
energy.
Vile Vigor.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, so definitely like huge change for sure. But yeah, it's such a fun fight, and yeah, I mean,
It's
if
just
you
a
can,
shame you have to do the rest of Chambers.
some parts of it
I mean, the rest
are
of Chambers
fun.
not that bad. That was kind of a
Yeah,
joke.
I mean, yeah. No, I know what you mean for sure. Uh,
Is
I
just the
will
Ulm fight
defend
is so good.
Chambers. Every piece of Chambers I will defend to my last breath, but I know where it
Very
lacks for
honorable of
sure.
you.
Yeah, like the Vespula fight for sure. Definitely not how it was intended to be, but it's still fun, but also very triggering at some points too. So yeah, I understand why some people hate some of the rooms, and yeah, but
I don't think I
Ulm,
hate any
perfect.
of the rooms,
Mm-hmm.
but Ulm is just so much fun, and the rest of the Chambers is kind of just fine to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's my sort of take on Chambers. Is I just go through the motions doing the rooms, and then I get to do the fun part at the end. But also, I just got 92 wood cutting. Do you want to say hi,
Congrats.
Tom?
Big congrats. Hello, YouTube.
Thank you. Okay, back to Chambers.
Back to Chambers, yeah. Yeah, it's,
Also
I
talking
mean,
about, I got raid spreads.
yeah, learning it too from scratch as well. I mean, I consider you to be pretty good at PVM just from watching you do Coliseum, and I feel like some people, if they go into team content all the time, kind of get bad habits. They kind of form bad habits that
Probably
make
could.
it
If you can
hard.
just rely on other people to do a thing,
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to just not learn it. But
Yeah, so
with the
I
solo, you
think,
have to deal with everything.
yeah, going into blind and just learning solo chambers was probably the best way to go in order to actually like
It
get better at
certainly
the
made me
content.
better.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I got better really fast with that.
Mm-hmm. I
Though,
mean, I do take people like into chambers who only do solos and then throw them into a team setting, and then they have no idea what to do as well. They'll like start trying to
that would
run the
probably be
head.
me. I've done like not dolos, duos and solos most of the time is what I do in my chambers. Regular team Ulm, I don't actually know what I'd be doing. I'd probably be making a whole lot of mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
but
But
that's okay.
still, I feel like solo was the right way to start it, though, for sure. To not get
It's
those
a
bad
way to
habits.
start it. I'm not sure I'd recommend it. It was a lot of work. It would have been good to do maybe, 2 or 3 team raids before I started, just to get comfortable and know what the mechanics do. So when this purple ball is flying at me from the boss's head, I know to pray mage rather than just letting that chunk me for a 40 and then having the portal teleport me. Oh, the portal's in a solo. That's the one thing I don't like about solo, is the portal mechanic.
They recently said that they updated it and it feels worse now. Like they were supposed to make
Oh.
it so it could only be like certain distance away from you, but now it feels worse. One theory I have, especially in solos, is like the portal thinks you're in one spot, but you're doing like a 4-to-1 on the melee hand, and
Right,
you're
so
running
you're
from one
instantly running
spot.
away from it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like you're already running away from it before it spawns is my theory. So maybe the more random placement was better. Um, but yeah, maybe they need to
Maybe.
just shrink down kind of where it could be, or if Ulm's on one side, it's not going to be like
Yeah,
too deep
I
into the
don't
back of
know.
the room. But yeah, either way,
I
it
don't have
feels
a
worse.
solution. I just know it's the one part of learning solo chambers that felt the worst, was a portal appearing on the other side of the room.
Hmm.
And you just have to run the whole way over and you don't quite make it and you get teleported a bit and you take some damage. And then you're so far away from where your cycle is that you have to run back and you're basically starting over.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a little bit frustrating.
Yeah. Also, though, like kind of funny like thinking about that too, especially once you get good at it.
I
You're
guess so,
like
yeah.
that
Well,
odd like
yep,
portal, and you'll be like, oh my god, this would have been terrible if I was like still learning, but now that I know it,
exactly.
it's
I
just
mean,
funny.
and once you're good at it, you're just skipping most of the portals anyway. Like, you only see a portal once in a blue moon, so when you do see it, and it's a faraway one, it's rare enough that it can still be funny. It's not like something that's happening 3 times every fight.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, getting back to
Oh yeah, my
learning PVM.
learning PVM.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the sort of next big step I took, and I think that was the first point where I actually started understanding the text system.
Mhm.
Like learning Zolra, that's, gear switching, doing your prayers, remembering to click food. But doing like 4 to 1, you have to care about the ticks and when they're happening. And it's got a nice rhythm to it. I like the tick system. I wouldn't want it for every game, but I'm really happy that this game has such slow game ticks. It
True.
feels
Yeah.
very unique and very rhythmic,
Mm.
and it's really cool. But that was where I started interacting with that, and then I was just started doing Slayer and doing any boss I could get my hands on, slowly working through basically all the content in the game, starting to do new updates as they came out. That was finally when I started catching up to being able to do stuff. I don't
Yeah.
know what the first update I did when it came out was. Might have been TOA actually. But anyway, and then I got to a point where I finally got my Bofa from the Corrupted Gauntlet, and I committed to going for learning the Inferno. And then really cool thing happened is I think it was Christmas or it might have been my birthday. My sister bought me one of those Crumb Zuck figurines,
Oh, cool.
and it's sitting next to me on top of my PC right here. And they showed me it and said, "You are not getting this until you beat the Inferno." And I was like, okay, time to knuckle down. So then got in there and learned everything I could about the Inferno and got to a point where I could finally get a cape. And with the cape came this Zuck figurine, and that, I don't know, it feels really special to me. I love that.
Such a cool incentive,
And
yeah. Like
yeah,
that.
so that was a bit before Varlamore came out, and then so when Varlamore came out, I felt pretty ready. At that point, I'd done a couple of capes to sort of jump in blind and see what I can learn. So I did all like TOA, learnt TOA blind on release day. Same with Desert Treasure 2 bosses, did all of them without guides on the first day. So I was starting to get used to just figuring out content. And then by the time Coliseum rolls around, trying to figure that out on the first day and getting to like wave 5, maybe.
6 was such a brick wall day one. Oh my
Six,
god.
wave 6 is hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't look like it should be hard, but it really is. Things actually get easier after wave 6.
Yeah. I hear people say it's like the second hardest wave.
Yeah, that might be a bit of an overstatement. I think so. Wave 6 is hard, then you get wave 7 and 8, which are easy. I think about wave 9 is about the same as wave 6,
Hmm.
and then 10 and 11 are like properly difficult. That's the real stuff.
Okay, so like tied for third.
Yeah, I would
Hardest.
say it's tied for third.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's kind of nice though to have like that one point where you're like, all right, this is now it's time to buckle
Yeah,
down.
it's a
in the
milestone.
Coliseum.
You know,
Yeah,
you can,
you
and
pass that.
it's one that is common enough that you just get an easy spawn that you can just deal with as well. So sometimes you can just get a spoon spawn on wave 6 and everything's fine, sort of like wave 63 in the Inferno is.
Yeah.
Sometimes everything just spawns and stacks up behind the pillar.
Yeah, and you're
Nice.
like, this is the hardest wave?
Yeah.
Yeah, but other
And then
times you're like, yeah, that's why.
Yeah. Yeah, you know why.
Yeah. Oh man, Inferno for me was rough. I think I probably did at least 200 attempts before I got my first one, including like
Ooh.
8 Zucks too. I feel like I had some of the worst RNG on Zuck too. I never tanked a Zuck hit, or I never survived a Zuck hit before I got the cape. So every time I got hit by a Zuck, first time death instantly. So
Rough.
yeah, it was rough for me because I felt like that was the only time I died too. Like I was good at doing the Jad and the sets and all that, but
I think
like if you make one mistake on the
took me
shield.
4 attempts. I always struggled with healers for the 3 that I was struggling with, like the going through doing the healers. The movement to be able to dodge the attacks they throw and to be able to keep good DPS up and stay with the shield. That's the thing that was taking me the longest to learn, I think. And I think on the third Zuck, I got through. I was using amethyst darts in my blowpipe because I just didn't have enough dragon darts to be using that for my learning. And I got the healers really low, but they killed me. I was like, maybe if I swapped to dragon darts, that would have actually got it there, and it's time for me to swap to dragon darts. And I was like, no, one more with amethyst. And then I get the kill on the next one with the amethyst darts again.
There you go. Yeah,
That's the thing with learning it on the Iron Man, I guess, is that I can't just go in with dragon darts straight away and have that, so...
I guess so. I mean, if there's any place to use them, it's probably the Inferno, but...
Yeah, it's definitely there, but like going in with how many darts you go through in the Inferno, I just didn't have that many to be learning with them yet, and amethyst darts are pretty good for most of the stuff.
Yeah.
I do wish I'd changed earlier in hindsight, but hindsight, you know, there's no way of knowing that at the time. If I'd taken 14 Zucks, I would have been sitting at Vorkath or whatever drops dragon dart tips to try farm them out.
True.
And I didn't want to be doing that. I just wanted to be doing the Inferno.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah. I mean, sticking to something to learn it is huge for doing that. I think one of the problems with me in Inferno was I'd die a few times and get really discouraged and go do something else. Yeah, take a big break, come back, and then I'd be worse than I was before.
Yep.
And have to relearn stuff. So yeah, the first cape was tough.
Yeah, my first cape was 14 attempts after I got the Bofa. So 14 what I'd call real attempts. I had dabbled in jumping in and learning to like flick blobs and stuff beforehand, so the real number should be a bit higher than that. But once I like committed, I basically sent 14 attempts back to back and got the cape.
Yeah. Nice. That's pretty impressive too, honestly. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it took me like 200 tries for the first one, my main, and then two attempts on my Ironman when I finally got my Bofa.
Oh, so my second account took 3 attempts. You beat me on the second one.
Yeah, I think I died on wave like 38 to something stupid. So it was like went right back in and got it, and was very proud about that with the Bofa. But I mean, I think most of my attempts on my main were before Bofa, so it was ACB, which sucked.
I've never done an ACB cape. I've done Bofa cape for everything.
Yeah, I got a loan on a T-bow, a couple of the Zucks. Not the one I got it though, so I ended up getting it with a ACB.
Nice.
I remember.
I bet that feels good.
Yeah, because I remember my friend lent me the T-bow, got to Zuck, and was like, "Oh my god, I get to use the T-bow at Zuck," and it noodled worse than an ACB. Yeah,
I've never used a T-bow, not once. Not even on leagues. I've never got one.
Oh really? I mean, it's fun. Once you get a T-bow, it's fun. But I mean, it does kind of make the game kind of too easy. A lot of people say. I think it's fun in its own respect, for sure. Like,
I know, I'm ready for parts of the game to be too easy on my Iron Man. Exactly, I would not complain about that. Yeah.
And I've killed a lot of bosses. Bofa gets a bit boring. You just see like 30s and 40s constantly. But like T-bow's like 0, 80,
0, 0, 80.
70. Like it's a lot of fun to see the high numbers too. And when it pops off, it's like 80, 80, 80. That's when it
yeah. I've recently got a Hydra task on my Iron Man, and I've been wishing for a T-bow on that one because I'm looking at the speed time on it, and I'm like, the Bofa just doesn't go fast enough. There's no way I can reach this time without like T-bow or Dragon Hunter Lance, but I'd need to kill Hydra to get the Lance to kill Hydra, so...
Yeah, it's tough to get the time without T-bow, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's a game-changing weapon. Definitely, like, Leagues was great for testing stuff out, and I remember this recent one, I got a T-bow with a 2-tick, but other than that, like, I did my first RCB Inferno cape on Leagues. I think the league before.
One of those too.
Yeah, that's definitely
the range threw me off. I got dragged so many times.
Oh my god, first time went in and instantly got dragged in one shot. So, last time. But yeah, I was a melee builds, like not this previous league, but the one before, because I wanted to learn Zuck a lot better, and did a few RCB capes that were like regular speed basically. So
Yeah, I did exactly the same thing actually. In the 2 leagues ago, I was a melee build and went for Inferno on it, and
mm,
you learn nothing about the waves because you just whack stuff and it dies instantly.
yeah,
But then you have to do like a real Zuck. Like you've got like a little accuracy boost on your rune crossbow or whatever it is, but it's basically a real Zuck.
yeah. Yeah, I did that kind of with Coliseum too. This one, I was a range build and then brought melee for soul a few times.
Nice.
Yeah. So I feel a lot better once I actually grind that on my Iron Man to be able to do it. So it'd be fun. And Echo Soul was pretty fun for sure, but I don't think I did a
Yeah.
single one of those in
I
melee because it was just way too hectic with the
yeah.
5 tick. I think a 5 tick Fang I was using. Way
Yeah,
too hectic.
that would be a bit rough, I
Yeah.
think. I know the Echo Soul was super fun because you get to just fight Soul, which is the best part of the Coliseum,
Hmm.
and you just get to fight that boss all the time. But I think all the extra puddles and totems made the fight less fun.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah,
like
I
a
agree.
slightly worse Soul, but you get to just do Soul. So it was
Yeah.
really good,
If
but
you
I
had the
kind of wish it
DPS, you
didn't have
just
the extra mechanics and he
yeah.
just had just a metric shitload of health.
Yeah, that would have been definitely better for
That would be my
learning.
perfect scenario, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I can't complain. The
Hmm.
all of the Echo boss fights actually, just that they cooked up new boss fights just for leagues. That's so cool.
Yeah. What was your favorite one?
Maybe KQ.
Oh, really? A lot of people say that maybe they should just switch out normal
It
KQ
they should.
currently for that. Yeah.
It would be so much better. Like maybe if you're big on RuneScape nostalgia and keeping things how they were, yeah, fair enough. KQ, keep it the same. But in terms of just having fun fighting a boss,
Hmm.
regular KQ is miserable, and that KQ was fun.
Yeah, I mean,
Like it's not
avoiding the specials, like the stepping
doing the step under
stepping
thing. Yeah,
back. Yeah. I
exactly.
mean, that was definitely like a lot more interesting, and definitely for step unders, like that's definitely important for people to learn too. So it would kind of turn it into like one of those learning bosses instead of one that just
Yeah.
deals crazy damage for no reason basically. But
I'm trying to remember them
yeah.
all. I did all of the Echo bosses because I
DK's
made
was my
multiple
favorite.
accounts. DK's was fun. It had a really nice rhythm to it. The
Hmm.
prayer, 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 move, attack. Prayer, 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 move, attack.
Super
Like,
rhythmic, yeah. I really enjoyed that.
yeah,
Hmm.
that was really nice. I agree. Big fan on that one. Actually, Grotesque Guardians, I think, was really fun as well. Quite easy,
I actually
but
didn't do
very
that one,
fast paced.
but
Uh, what are the worst ones? I found some grievances with Echo Hispori. If you ever got to try that
I
one,
didn't. What about that one?
it was quite slow. It wasn't. It was quite tanky, high health, and then it had this big AoE attack that had this tiny, tiny animation with almost no sound, and it would just come out of nowhere. I just wish it was
Yeah.
telegraphed better. And then it has these like when you're doing the skulls at TOA and you like one tick bounce between them in this nice pattern.
Yeah.
It had that, but on one side it was backwards, so that when you get over to that side, you have to like run around the back to start the nice pattern. You can't just like zip in there and start bouncing.
So
It's like
probably
it
a
was
few
so close
tweaks.
to being really. It just needed a little
Yeah.
bit of tweaks, but is that bit that it looked so easy. The change would have been so easy to make it so much fun, but that made it really obvious that it should have been like that and made it really frustrating.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I could see them adding um additions to these current bosses, maybe Hispori, KQ, DKs, things like
Yeah.
that. Something
I hadn't,
like an
if those
Awakener's
just like
Orb.
echo orbs, yeah, if those
Yeah.
orbs could drop from the boss, just like Awakener's orbs, and you can go and fight those echo versions, that would be super cool. I would be so down for that.
Yeah. It would probably need to be like the Awaken, where it's like each orb
You get
is
one
one
attempt for
kill
the
or
orb.
one
Yeah.
attempt or something. But yeah, I think that could be pretty good. And Hispori too. Some of them probably not needed, but also like they could also use those mechanics in a different boss one day too. So.
Yeah, I'm sure the whoever was designing them is using it just like experiments, trying some things, see what sticks.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna show up on the Delve boss or the Duo boss coming soon, see if any of those mechanics from Echo bosses are about to show up.
True. Yeah.
I think they might.
Yeah, I would honestly bet money on it, probably, because definitely a lot of people really like the Echo fights in general. So, yeah, I can definitely see that.
I mean, I just liked that they made new bosses.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were good, some of them weren't good, but new content fun.
Yeah, that's the perfect place to experiment is in these leagues too, where it's not permanent.
Yeah, like, exactly. If they make a shit boss, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
Exactly. They mess up some mechanics, it's fine. Mm-hmm. But I do have a grievance with their KQ didn't drop the Awakener's Orb for however long it was, and they didn't tell us about it until I was like
bugged.
50 kills into it.
No. You had to do regular KQ for that long. That's horrible.
I went with
one other
gear
thing
too.
I really liked from the league was the Sunlight Spear. Did you get to use that?
I did, yeah. I was ranged, so I used it.
So much fun.
Yeah, it was definitely a cool mechanic too. And then the
like if
typeless damage.
Yeah, if they just put that weapon in the main game and then tone down the specs so it doesn't hit 100s, and it would be so much fun. Just like a melee weapon that you slowly build up charges with, and you can spend them on doing a little bit of AoE damage. Doesn't need to be busted, but like, it felt so good to use.
Yeah, no, I did like it for sure. I could see them putting something in there. Maybe it doesn't belong necessarily on Soul. But
the Coliseum doesn't need more rewards.
It has a lot of rewards.
Having the quiver, that's
mm-hmm.
it's quite enough. But
yeah,
the like design for the item, it felt like
it belonged.
We'd never had in the game before, and it felt fun to use. So I want to see that mechanic used on a new item.
Yeah.
Any of these new bosses coming out, if they want to find a design for an item, just use that one and tone it down so it's not OP, but fun to use on maybe a Slayer task or something, so you can do like bursting, but with melee is your...
I agree, yeah. That'd be sick. Yeah.
Oh, that actually flows so nice, is you could use the melee to tag everything, and then that builds up your stacks, and then once they're clumped, then you AoE them. I'm getting myself excited, and it's not even in the game. God damn it.
I know. Well, maybe somebody's listening. Maybe they'll hear your calls for this.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And now I'll forget about it for another year and a half or whatever.
It's okay. But yeah, I mean, we'll have tons of
it until now.
We'll have tons of fun upgrades to try out with the new bosses, though. The new horn from Yama looks super interesting. Of course,
it does.
Yeah. I feel like there's a ton of uses for that people haven't even thought about yet. But I believe what it does, it takes like full spec bar, and then everyone around your vicinity, like their next melee attack is like guaranteed accuracy. I think.
Yeah. I like the idea of a whole party like running into Maiden at the start of Tob, and a guy blows the horn, everyone whips out their spec weapons, bang!
Yeah.
Like, it's got good flavor to it. I like that.
Yeah. Like, I was thinking like an inaccurate melee weapon like a DDS would go pretty hard in some places with that, maybe. But yeah, I don't know exactly how people could use that, but
it's going to be cool to see the experiments and what people figure out. Like,
yeah, someone smarter than me.
Speedrunners are gonna like just have an absolute field day taking that taking that thing everywhere and figuring out how to use it, and it's probably going to be absolutely busted in some places.
Yeah, one thing that I was thinking of specifically was ZGS specs on the Mama Modal. Can be so inaccurate sometimes, so
that's a good point actually.
Yeah.
What would you do if you're in a team though, like one person ZGSs and then everyone else has a guaranteed melee hit?
Yeah, I mean, just Side
drop an
swing,
AGS or
maybe?
something.
I don't know about
It
AGS.
only
It
does
doesn't have
one
to be
hit
a
splat though. I
spec,
don't think it's.
is it?
It doesn't have to be a spec. No, it's just the next melee hit splat. Whatever one single hit splat. Maybe
Oh,
you just
okay.
fucking Eldermaul bonk it.
Yeah, man. I mean, that'd probably be worth. Like for me, I
I
can't
don't
think of
know.
anything else, but
Oh yeah.
maybe just one Elder Maul bonk just for the guaranteed hit and go back to Tebow. But yeah, that I mean, definitely the like sky's the limit with something like that, and hopefully it's not
Yeah,
like too
it's
OP
going
anywhere.
to
But
have good uses.
yeah,
I can't think of anywhere that it feels OP, but I'm worried that it's going to be.
yeah. Thankfully, it's just with melee specifically, so there's a lot
Yeah,
of
it's
places that it can't be
restricted enough that it
used.
can't be everywhere. It's not like the shadow that's just like, okay, here's a weapon, it's really good, use it everywhere. It's
Mhm.
like it only works on one hit splat, on melee only, on your friends who are standing close to you, like very restricted, but the effect is really cool.
Yeah, yeah, definitely cool to play around with stuff like that. What do you think of
But
the
I don't
3-tick mage weapon? Do you think
I don't
that'll have
know.
any crazy uses? The special
Honestly
attack
don't
is
know.
is
It looks like a good spec weapon, like
yeah. From what I understand, it might be slightly better than the Accursed Scepter's special
yeah,
attack
it
because it
looks
rolls
like
off mage defense instead of mage level, I believe.
yeah, anywhere you're just like shadowing something and aren't using spec, it would be a good spec to bring.
Mm.
On anything you're like doing single mage attacks to, on like low health stuff, it'll be just probably best.
Yeah,
Like I don't know, Nilo's comes to
Nihilus for
mind
sure.
instantly, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
with so many things like that for sure. Um,
I don't know, I haven't had that many thoughts about that weapon though. Unironically, the thing I'm most excited for is the hybrid boots.
yeah,
Which,
making this less switches and has been something
like,
people have
it's
been
not
talking about.
fancy, but just
Yeah.
to be able to do raids and not have to be like, do I bring primordials or returnals? Do I have to bring just a two-way boot switch?
Mhm.
Just not thinking about that and just having boots. That feels really good to me. I'm really excited for that.
Definitely, yeah. No, it'll be good. Just having like a straight DPS upgrade in a slot is good in its own way too. Kind of like the
Yeah,
gauntlets will just be a straight
it's I
DPS
wouldn't
if
even
nothing
mind if they
else.
weren't a straight DPS upgrade. That's not the thing I'm excited for. I just like the hybrid on
Mm,
them. I don't want any
okay.
other
Yeah, yeah.
hybrid gear, like no other slots, please, Jagex, just that one. But
Hmm.
the fact that it's boots is like perfect because I
Yeah.
never use range boots. Range boots are an absolute trap. And then
Yeah.
it's like, do you bring a two-way boot switch or do you just commit to one and your off style is worse? It just feels bad. But now it's not going to feel bad. It's going to feel good. And that feels good.
Exactly, yeah. It's
Very
gonna take a
elegant.
lot of the guesswork out of it. The Iranian boots have been like used a lot recently just because of like people not wanting to bring an extra switch. And if you don't bring an extra switch,
Exactly. And
it's
these are
probably
just
been
going
your
to
best option.
do the same thing, except not be holding you back on DPS.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, very excited for those. But that means we're going to have to get Ranger boots. I've never had Ranger boots on any account
All
ever,
right.
even on leagues. It's insane.
Oh, I love clues. So especially mediums, I feel are like the perfect grinding boots, except for how you get them on an Iron Man. On an Iron Man specifically, grinding Aquatic sucks. I hate it. But doing a bunch of
Uh-huh.
like mediums at once is really nice. I really like doing that. You don't have to go into the wilderness at all. They're
Mm-hmm.
like they're decent amount of steps, so you're not like just constantly trying to get another clue, kind of like easies are. Um,
Yeah.
and then the rewards are just kind of nice to see with the
Yeah, I've been
boots, and
doing
they
a
have so
couple
many
of medium
uniques.
clues on my UAM recently,
Hmm.
and they're fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah,
But that's from AFKing Dagonoths.
I was thinking
As I
of
just
like,
drop medium clues and then I stack them outside, and then
yeah,
I do a station where I go through and just use up all those medium clues, and that's always
mhm.
fun.
Yeah. I'm trying to do a 1,000 opening of every type of clue. I just did the easies.
Ooh,
I was doing the
nice.
Varlamore thieving AFK, And I was thinking of some way to AFK mediums, and I was probably just gonna do Dagonos, yeah, just because it's like
It's
the
chill.
easiest thing. Yeah, I have a
It
Venator bow
is.
too, so I guess I mean in the
I
catacombs
love
would
the
be
Venator bow. It's so
so
much
good.
fun.
Yeah, yeah,
Beautiful weapon.
yeah. The rate's just so bad on medium clues for monsters. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, I hate grinding eclectic so much. So, yeah,
Yeah, I've
maybe I'll do
I've
that.
not really committed to going to try get ranges. It's just, over the course of all my accounts and leagues, probably approaching maybe 1,000 medium clues total
Mhm.
in no ranges, which it's not like absurdly dry, but it's dry enough that I'm annoyed at it. But when these boots come out, I'm going to need to get them, so I'm worried that the Puro Puro is in my future.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be that bad though. But I mean, you could go dry. You never know. They are kind
Nah,
of an
surely I get
IG
spoons now. It's going to
thing.
happen. It's easy.
Yeah. I just have to mention, I just got my second dragon impling of this podcast so far. Yeah,
Ooh,
it's getting some good luck. Yeah.
good luck for it's the dart tips you want, right?
The arrow tips I want more because it's XP
Uh,
towards
oh
the
yeah, the
more
arrow tips are
typical.
the lower one. I
Yeah.
remembered why, I just forgot which way round they were.
Hmm. Yeah, you're getting 90 right now for
Yeah,
arrow
I'm getting
tips.
90, just AFKing on yew trees. Super chill grind.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
it's the
it's
AFK.
slow, but it's chill. I like it.
Mhm. I would love
I
that
did the
AFK, but it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. We'll
I did
just
the regular
put the
trees
normals.
to what level did I go to? 60 something? Was fletching bolts. 65. Yeah, I did regular trees to 65, and I actually think that's the worst grind I've done on my account. Going to 95 is insane. I
Mhm.
cannot believe you're doing that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at this point, it's like muscle memory. Just to like
Yeah.
cut down these 3 trees and hop. But yeah, it's so little XP that it's just like there's not much dopamine there. You're cutting like
Yes. Yeah,
you logs into bows. You're getting like a little bit of dopamine for that XP whenever you get like a full inventory, I'm sure. But yeah,
I
there's
haven't cut any of
nothing.
them yet. I'm stacking them in the
Oh,
bank,
really? Oh, that's gonna be a lot
which
of
which
XP in
is
one go.
slower because I have to run back and forth to the bank, which I wouldn't have to if I was fletching them here, but it's just going to have this like crazy XP per
Hmm.
hour session of just fletching U bows, and I'm going to go, there's going to be 50,000 of them. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, I'm such a hoarder. I'm glad that the bank's really close for me, so I can bank them all. I've got a stack of 639k longbows in the bank. Oh,
And I
it's a
think
crazy amount.
I didn't get a bank until my 5th chunk or
Oh, that's
something like
true.
that. So I was UIM style for quite a while.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's kind of cool too. But yeah,
I love UIM.
one thing about Chunkman though is like a lot of the times you can build up supplies to help you on future grinds. So
Hmm.
not
My
being able to
bank
do
is looking
that,
pretty juicy.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, Definitely gonna have a lot of supplies from the Coliseum that you can use in the future.
It's mostly GP.
Oh,
I'm gonna have so
really?
much money. It's actually crazy.
Mm,
And
yeah.
even like Varlamore thieving is not bad GP. Most chunk accounts would kill for Varlamore thieving for money.
Yeah, you get the
And
boosted
like
amount from
I do,
stealing
yep.
too.
And like it's my second best money maker because I've got the Colosseum, which
Hmm.
you can get a wave that's got like 1,000,000 GP in Onyx bolts.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I feel like they should buff the GP you get from Varlamore thieving with the Coliseum. Do you think it's not that much? I
uh
honestly did it a little bit on my
the
main.
buff
Didn't think it
is
was
small,
much.
but like it's quite a high glory requirement to get that. And if you're
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
skiller, if the buff was big, it would feel quite bad.
Maybe
Like
like they
I
didn't
don't
want
know.
to decentivize doing it before you got it,
Yeah,
but
I I don't think that's quite what I don't think they want the feeling where if you get the buff, then it becomes meta, and then if you're someone who can't get the buff because you're just not at that stage in your PVM journey yet, and you're seeing everyone else getting the good thing and you just know you can't get it, I think that's the feeling they're trying to avoid.
I could see that.
Is they're
I
not
hadn't
trying to
thought
make
about
it
that.
bad beforehand, they're just trying to make it not too good afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I really didn't think about that that way. But yeah, I mean, I could see like, because my thought process going into it was like, I just did this high glory to get this to unlock this thing, and then I went and did it. It was like there's like a million other things at my level I could do to get better GP. But I guess like most people, like now that Coliseum's in the game, it would come earlier in your progression than like the stage that I'm at on my
Yeah,
Iron Man 2. So I could see
I don't really know.
being more useful for some people,
All
but
the speculation there.
yeah.
I think honestly, they just wanted to add things for glory rewards and they were out of ideas.
That
So they're just like, we can
could
give
be,
this random Varlamore thing a small buff, and that can be a list on this board of rewards you unlock.
yeah, yeah.
If you want what I actually think the reason is, I think it's that is they were just looking for rewards, so they made something fairly inconsequential.
Do you have an idea of anything that they could add as a glory reward that's not currently there?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. Uh, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, because it did seem like they honestly didn't have very many ideas on that, and that's why there's not too much benefit to glory
I would
besides an
probably
emote.
try add one thing that like interacts with like each skill that you do on Varlamore. So I might add a buff to like bone shard mining, or
Mm,
no, that feels too far away. Maybe using the bone shards is maybe the Blessed Sunfire wines give you 7 XP each rather than 6 or something. That
okay.
might be too good though. The bone shards are already such a good method.
Yeah, they are pretty good. How
Maybe
about
I would
something in the
actually lock
Colosseum?
making blessed wine. That's what I would do. I would lock blessed wine with the sunfire splinters behind a
Yeah.
glory requirement. Probably quite a
Okay.
low one, but I'd
Yeah.
do that. Maybe a buff to your hunter rumor block list, like you can block one extra thing on your hunter rumor block list, or you can do like an extension of a certain task. Like if you, I really like doing 3-tick chins, so maybe you can make your like red chinchompa tasks give twice. Like you get
Ooh,
twice, it takes twice as long to get the thing, but you get 2 reward sacks from it.
that could be cool. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a very elegant design.
It doesn't
I'm
sound
sure there's a better
OP
way to
and
do it.
it's
But like,
Varlamore-ish, but yeah.
I would just add like this really small buff to all these different things around Varlamore's glory
Mm.
requirements, which is kind of what they did. Like, there's the thieving, there's protection for the herb patch, there's I actually don't remember what the other ones are. Oh, there's using the bank. That one's such a troll, is you can't
Yeah,
use the
yeah.
bank inside. You have to go down the stairs to the poor person bank outside.
It makes you feel like, I don't know, more.
I actually love that one.
It's kind of funny in a troll way, but I could see people getting discouraged like learning it because they can't use the bank that's
It's
right
so
there.
early on. It's like the
But
first thing
yeah,
you unlock. I think
I
it's
get that.
fine. I find it funny enough to be worth the hassle because the bank is so close. You literally click outside and it's like 6, 7 ticks away running.
Mm,
Like it's really close. It's right at the bottom of the stairs. But just
yeah.
the fact that you have to go outside and use the outside bank rather than the inside one,
Mm,
genius. I love that.
yeah. That's such a Jagex thing to do. How about if a certain glory level, maybe a high one, you could block a certain invocation in Coliseum, or maybe make it just
Ooh.
rarer to see. You think that would be a cool thing that they could do?
I don't think I would do it that way around. I think I would do a like. I mean, yes, I like the idea of it interacting with Colosseum modifiers. I think that's a good idea. But maybe I would do like you can guarantee one of the things that shows up on your wave 2. Like
Okay,
on wave
yeah.
1 is always the same, so you know what
Yeah.
you're picking. Like you could make the wave 2 always give you one you like as well. So there's just reduces the amount of RNG.
Yeah, and that's
But I
so
don't know.
early
It's
too.
basically the same thing you said, but a different way to do it.
I think your way is better, actually. I think that would be like less overpowered because like if you just hated Doom or whatever, you just wanted to
Bees.
take it off
Fuck
the
bees.
list. Which bees, yeah, yeah, obviously bees is
There's
the
some
biggest one, yeah, for sure. But
like the blocking one might actually feel better because the thing that feels really bad is when you get to like wave 11 and you just see 3 invocations that you know you can't take because you will die. And you're just like, I spent all this time and I have to start over. That's the thing that feels bad. And
okay.
being able to not have that happen would be
Or
nice.
how about this? Maybe one reroll per Coliseum.
Ooh.
Like you just click a
Oh,
reroll
I think that's
button.
better actually.
Yeah, that could be cool.
I like that. I think it's the best out of the ones we've suggested so far. So that when that shows up, you're not just like you don't have to quit. You can reroll your invocation and pick a different thing. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, perfect.
I like
Or
that.
like if you have some bad ones that aren't like terrible, you could just take a chance and re-roll them.
Yeah,
Assuming that you won't get anything worse later on.
yeah. I
Could
reckon that'd
like
be a
kind of
nice way
average
to
out.
reduce the RNG.
It could average out runs.
And you'd have some spectacular clips where someone re-rolls and gets exactly the same thing.
Yes,
Great
yes.
content.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. That's a good way of thinking about it for sure. But yeah, I think Glory just doesn't give anything like crazy good, which is okay, but
Yeah,
like
I
maybe
don't
they
think it
could
needs
make it
to.
better.
I think it was just an experiment, being like, okay, is there a way we can make a different metric than just speed running?
Hmm. Yeah.
And it, I don't think anyone really cares about it. I'm sure some people do. It's just kind of there.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
definitely experimenting with a lot of stuff.
you go to the Coliseum, you get your quiver, and then you've got the max glory for rewards.
Hmm.
And then you could do competitive glory runs afterwards if that's a thing you're interested in. So, yeah, it's kind of good. It's probably, I think the Colosseum is better for it being there. So that makes it a success, I think.
Yeah, overall it's great content. Really good. But I think it's time to talk about smithing. Yeah.
No,
No, I
not
want to get on that
smithing.
because I have a grudge with
No.
smithing too, for sure. But yeah, tell us how smithing has ruined your life.
Well, the smithing just. I unlocked it with sand crabs because crabs drop tin and copper.
Hmm.
And I guess I should mention how a lot of people have this sort of like secondary drop rate that anything under that doesn't constitute a training method. 1 in 16 sort of, I think that was the one Frey used, and then lots of people
Yeah, I think Frey
copied
started
that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Which it's a good like really specific way to stop meme grinds basically.
Hmm.
But I kind of I don't love the spirit of that rule because what if the grind is easy or medium, let's say? Okay, easy's not the right word. Reasonable is the word I'm actually meaning. What if there's a
Yeah.
reasonable grind that you don't do because something's a 1 in 20 drop rate? That doesn't feel like in the spirit of a chunk account. Like it feels like I could do this and it's reasonable to do it. So I feel like, if you could and it's reasonable, then you should do it. That's kind of the whole
Yeah.
point of doing these chunk accounts is you do as much as you can in the chunks.
I feel like that too. I feel
And
like Burf did. Um, he had a meme grind with skeletons for smithing to 99.
yeah.
Pretty early on, and yeah, I mean he didn't need to have a drop rule, like a drop rate rule, to know that that was just a meme grind.
Exactly.
Like it
And I
just
think,
was, and maybe if somebody had different circumstances, it wouldn't have been a meme grind, and they could have done it. I'm sure, but Yeah.
Like, for me, I'm not going to say this in the series, it's not going to show up in any of my videos, but my actual chunk rules are I do everything that I want to do in a chunk before I roll a new one.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of the same for everyone, is really there's a level of something that you don't want to do anymore and is going to be too difficult for you to do, and you're finding rules to make it not work.
Yeah.
And
You don't
I
see
think
that with
everyone does that in a way.
you don't see that with casual players. They don't make up a rule so that they don't have to do something. They just don't do it because they don't want to do it.
Exactly.
Like
And
it's just for YouTube, I
effectively,
feel.
that's what I'm looking for,
Yeah.
is when I get to a chunk, is obviously I want to do as much as possible, but I want to do as much as possible of stuff that I want to do.
Mhm.
And when I had the Coliseum and sand crabs, if I was doing like extreme rules, the sand crabs have like a 1 in 64 drop rate of 3 copper ore, and they also drop coal, and there's rune ore in the Coliseum. So like, if I was going in the most extreme version, I could kill sand crabs for their ore drops to 99 smithing and make a rune plate body.
Mhm.
Technically, that's something that could happen in my chunks, but a big old fuck that. Nope. No, there's no
Yeah,
way.
especially if they aren't even aggressive to you, because I didn't even know that.
But yeah, but also the thing is with the sand crabs there,
Mhm.
they unlock smithing steel, and steel has upgrades for me. Like, there are upgrades I could get from these sand crabs, and doing that bronze smithing, like with the tin and copper drops, they're rare drops. But when I went through and I looked at what it would actually take to do this, and I think the biggest upgrade I could get was the steel kite shield. That was the thing that, from sand crabs, I could train smithing and get that, and it was an upgrade, and it was reasonable to do. And if I used the drop rate rule of 1 in 16 or something, I wouldn't have had to do that. And when I put it like in the chunk picker, it wouldn't have told me that that's a thing I should do. But I wanted to do that. It felt like something that I could do in the chunk and was reasonable, so I went for it. But then I just have to have some arbitrary point, which is just like, but I'm not going to do the rune ore from the Colosseum. Why not? Can I make a specific rule that tells me not to? Not really. I just don't want to.
Yeah,
Because
fair
smithing
enough.
sucks. And old and regular smithing is archaic, and it needs a rework. It needs to be scaled to be reasonable.
Okay. Yeah,
Like,
so
smithing is only okay because of Blast Furnace and Giant's Foundry.
exactly, yeah. They just made it better
Regular
with different
smithing,
methods for sure. But yeah,
regular smithing is horrible.
so how would you fix it?
I would just scale all of the level requirements down for various things. Like, I don't know, what's a reasonable level to smith a rune plate body? Let's say 80, 70,
Yeah, I was kind of thinking 80.
somewhere around there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I would
And
leave
then I'd
room
just,
for other stuff like DFS, dragon
yeah.
stuff,
And
things like
honestly, I
that.
don't think it needs to be in order of power. Like, you can leave the dragon square shield where it is,
Yeah.
like at 60, and just bring everything down around it. It doesn't need to be dragon, it needs to be higher than rune. I just think, like when they did the project rebalance with all the skills, and most of the time with that, no metas changed. Just everything that wasn't viable got buffed until it was closer to viable.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
I definitely agree with
doing
that too. I like
doing
it.
gem stalls now with thieving is a reasonable training method. You're not
Mhm.
trolling if you do that. It's not the best, but it's not like atrocious anymore.
Yeah,
And smithing could use the same thing.
smithing
Is
needs
just
that.
buff
Yeah.
all the regular smithing or bring the level requirements down so that it doesn't suck. It doesn't need to be
Mhm.
the best. You don't need to make everyone going and, smithing mithril plate bodies because it's the new meta. But it could use some help for if you
Mhm.
wanted to do that. If you want to smith mithril plate bodies, you're not just wasting your money.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of my thoughts is very much in line with that. Um, like to use a bar on anvil, it's twice the XP as smelting it. So what they could do is just double the amount of XP to smelt an ore, like a rune bar. If it was double
Yeah.
the XP to smelt it, it would still not even be close to the XP an hour of gold. So it's not like they're
Yeah, like gold's like what, 300k an hour or something like that?
yeah with the gauntlets obviously because that's
Yes,
what makes
I'm
it OP.
assuming,
But
regular accounts.
yeah, yeah, like doubling the smelting XP would not like make it meta or anything. It would just be not bad,
Not as
pretty much.
troll.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not as
exactly.
troll, basically.
And that's pretty much what I think smithing needs, is it needs a project rebalance thing,
Hmm.
just like they did with all the other skills. Because I think project rebalance for the skilling was just a win for everything. I don't think I can't think of a single thing in that that's like, this things feel worse now. Like with the thieving is you can now thieve gnomes and you can thieve heroes or whatever, and you actually get a reasonable XP drop and you get a chance at clues and such, but no one's under the illusion this is now the best thing to do. But if for
Yeah,
some reason you wanted to do it, you're not nearly as much wasting your time. And
yeah,
that feels really good.
definitely, yeah, yeah. And I don't want them to cater to chunk counts or anything, but that really like was a cool thing for chunk
Yeah,
counts as well. Because I mean, I know
yeah,
at
it really
least
was.
3 or 4 chunk counts that are thieving gem stalls recently for their crafting training, and it's yeah,
I've done a bit
it's
of that myself too. I don't need to get 99 thieving in this chunk, but I'm going to just because the thieving methods I have available are really nice. I've got Varlamore citizens and I've got gem stalls. Like,
mhm.
they're
Yeah,
good.
the gem stalls are actually good XP now. They like respawn quicker, and
Yeah, it's over
yeah, it's
100k
just
thieving
better.
XP an
Hmm.
hour doing gem stalls.
Yeah, but it's not your
That's
best
good.
method. So, or for
No.
thieving, but if you combine the thieving and crafting, it's really good for sure.
Yeah, it's got a nice balance of XP and loot now that makes it feel good to do even if it's not the best for anything.
Hmm.
And oh my god, does smithing need that?
Yeah, for
Even
sure.
for a I think the best way to think about is everything should make sense for a new iron account.
Hmm.
That's what I think things should be balanced around. If you start the game and you're like, I want to smith myself a weapon. You know what? What's a reasonable weapon? It's not particularly OP. A rune scimitar. Cool. You start and you're like, I want a rune scimitar. I'm going to smith it. And you open up the smithing menu and you look at a rune scimitar that is level 90 smithing. There is no way you're doing that. That is crazy. But that
Yeah,
should be something that's viable to do. Is if you wanted to get your weapons and armor by smithing it, it should feel good to do that. And now it doesn't.
exactly. Yeah. No, I fully
And
agree for sure.
yeah, that's how things. That's generally what my philosophy is for whether I think game updates should happen. Is if someone started a new Iron Man account, should it feel better for them? That's the most important. And I think that's the most important, not because Iron Men are more important than mains, but because Iron Men are forced to engage with all the content, and that forces them to design all the content to be good,
Yeah. Yeah.
basically.
And it's very true that like a lot of brand new players don't know how to use the GE like super effectively.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing
Yep.
methods that are kind of like Iron Man methods anyway until they figure that kind of stuff out. So
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a lot of
That
brand new
was, I
accounts are
imagine that was
using
a lot of us back in the day.
yeah, yeah. Like I can remember um doing like smithing to I think 80. I did it like just the normal smelting and
Whoa.
stuff. I know, which back then
Yeah,
was a lot. Yeah.
that's a lot. That was my biggest achievement in, back in when I regularly played in primary school or whatever, was I got up to smithing mithril and I could make mithril med helms, I think was what I got to. And what I was doing is I was in Falador and I'd walk down into the mines and mine I would mine mithril and coal, and I'd come back up to the furnace and I would smelt it, and I'd go back down into the mines and walk up
Hmm.
to that anvil in the northwest, and I would smith it into items, and then I'd
Yeah.
mine some more and go back up, and that's what I did. And I did that, and I got up to smithing mithril med helms, and I was so proud of it.
Yeah. As
Oh,
long as it
that's
worked, we did it back then for sure.
exactly. I could have just gone and bought like 1,000 steel bars.
Mhm.
but it didn't.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's it's definitely a good way
Good
to think
memories.
about it. Yeah, I've got so many memories like that, dude. It's crazy, but yeah, I mean that's definitely a great way to look at it. It's like, is this gonna be good for like early Iron Man, or is it gonna be part of the
And it doesn't
progression?
even need to
Or
be early Iron Man. It doesn't make sense for a new one. It can even be late game stuff, as like the drop rate of a T-bow. Does that make sense for someone starting a new Iron Man? I don't think
no?
so. I think it's too rare.
Yeah, no, I
But
agree.
like,
It's too rare as well, but
you can't
yeah.
really change it now. I mean, you could. And if I was in charge of JX, I would. I would make sweeping changes that devalue everyone's items. But
The
that's
crazy
why I
thing
guess
to
it's a
think
good thing that
about
I'm not in it.
the crazy thing to think about now too is that when it was put into the game in 2017, like the best gear that people had back then would have made this like triple
That's
long to
crazy.
get the T-bow than it is now, like with all the
Yeah.
gear upgrades and the
How
progression.
long would a raid have taken back then? I don't know. I wasn't playing then.
I think I was doing regular raids with like my friends, like 4 or 5 mans, and they were taking us like 45 minutes to do like a normal raid. I mean, we were
Oh,
just
the
chilling
drop rate would be
too. Like,
so bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was terrible to get a T-bow back then, or like, I mean, it would happen, but it was like super rare. You had to get
Mm.
really lucky, and there was no collection log. Nobody was like, I want it in my name for the collection log. We were just like, we just want to make
Yeah,
money,
just
dude.
money.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, there wasn't like any need for it,
Yeah.
which I think that they've done things so that you don't need a T-bow on your Iron Man. You can get a Bofa, you can get the
Yeah,
Atlatl,
they've
yeah,
filled in mid game stuff really well.
yeah, ZCB. There's tons of good stuff, and they could add more um, niche
And I'm sure they
things.
will.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then obviously like raid times over time are going to get faster and faster with these new things that they put
Hmm.
in. So in a way, I feel like going back on the drop rate now, um, you know, is too late. Like
Yeah.
they learned from their mistake with Theater of Blood and Tombs of Masket, and they should continue to
Hmm.
have things not as rare as the T-bow, especially like endgame, like big items like that. Um,
Yeah.
so they learned their
If
lesson, but they got this one thing that is still like a pinnacle upgrade that takes a long time to get, but it's just gonna get easier over time to get it anyway. Is
Yeah,
what I'm getting at.
I understand it, but if I was in control, I would change it now. That's
Yeah.
my that's my stance on it is if it were solely up to me and I could ignore everyone else's feedback, I would make it more common.
Mm.
And I would make the shadow rarer. But anyway,
I would. TOA is another thing too, because
it
you've
is
got the
certainly another
Fang,
thing.
which is like one of the most common. It's like
Yeah.
getting a prayer scroll from there, and it's a super
But
OP,
also,
super useful weapon.
have you it is, but it also feels necessary to do TOA. Like, have you tried doing TOA at any time without a Fang?
Yeah, I
It
think.
sucks.
Yeah, I did like 250, 300 with a rapier when TOA was still
Ooh.
new. Yeah, I barely did 300s because they were just not fun
Yeah,
without a Fang.
it feels to me like the Fang needs to be common to make TOA not feel like shit.
Yeah.
But then it's a problem for the rest of the game because the Fang is so common and so cheap. It's
Hmm.
like,
Yeah.
I kind of, if I'm in my taking over Jagex phase and I get to design things, I'm going to probably nerf the Fang, but also nerf the defensive stuff in TOA so you don't need the Fang.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that. Definitely like was a weird call on them to design it like that, but
Yeah, lots
yeah.
of weird calls with TOA. Like I like TOA. I think it's a really good update. I
Yeah,
enjoy
same.
doing it. I do expert raids, but I don't want to push high invocations, and that's fine with me at the moment because everything I've heard from people doing that is just like it just gets worse. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll stay doing my
Yeah.
fun raids, thanks. Like
I'm so happy.
320 to 350 sort of range.
I'm so happy that like the pet transmogs are like guaranteed once you do it once. You do the shit invocations once, and you don't have to do it again,
and you
and you get the thing that you
I think
want.
that's a really good way, just in general, to do pet transmogs, and I think they've stuck with it recently with other things too. Is like you beat a speed time, or you do this combo and you get the transmog, and you just it's guaranteed. You do it once and you've got it. I think
Yeah,
that's really good most of the time.
or like drive protection on cosmetics. I have nothing against that
Yeah,
really. It's good to have a
but
little bit of
also
RNG with stuff,
with
because you can get like luckier, or you can
yeah
like you have that little bit of dryness, but you know you're not going to go too dry, I guess is kind of a good thing. But keep that on
with
cosmetics is kind of how I feel about it.
with cosmetics as well though, I'm also okay with some cosmetics being ludicrously rare. Like if it's a functional item that
Hmm.
you'd actually want to get to use, I never want those to be ludicrously rare. I want it to be like I can grind this thing out and I can choose to do it, I can go for it and I can get it.
Do you mean like evil chicken
Like
being super rare?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm evil chicken being super rare, I think that's cool.
Yeah, because people, if
If
you see
evil
that on
chicken
Iron
was a
Man, it's a cool flex.
yeah, I I got a piece on my UAM and alked it.
Oh man. Oh,
I
like
love doing
on
that shit.
purpose, or just yeah, just because you
Yeah,
wanted to.
because like I don't know if you haven't seen my UAM, I don't use POH storage, I don't use
Oh
looting
wow.
bag, I don't use death piles. Everything I own is in my inventory. That's like the idea of the. It was actually the first Snowflake account that I really started committing to, and I was like, oh, I actually really like doing snowflakes. This is the one.
Mhm.
Was this UAM that it's just UAM, but everything is in my inventory at all times, and on that I can't keep shit. I
Yeah.
can't keep a piece of evil chicken, so I get it. I'm like, that's awesome, and then I alk it. And also that makes a banger clip for the video. Oh,
Yeah, oh
so
yeah, it's
good.
gonna trigger so many people.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
that
So
is a good concept though. But yeah, it is interesting having some rare things to shoot for are just really kind of nice for incentive. So I do like
yeah,
that.
I
Yeah.
think in general, I just want variety with stuff like that. Is I want some things to be one-time achievable. I want some. This is in terms of cosmetics.
Hmm.
In some cosmetics, I want them to be a reasonable drop rate that you can farm out, but it takes a while. And some cosmetics, I think, should be ludicrously rare, and you only see like 3 ever. They're like crazy. I think a spread of that for cosmetic stuff is good.
Yeah.
But for like functional items, the first ones are good, but nothing should be obscenely rare
Yeah.
if it's a gameplay altering thing.
Yeah. No, I agree with that too. We have such a variety of how things come into the game. Like every boss is like different
Hmm.
rules. Just kind of confusing, I feel like, for a lot of
It
new
is, but
players. They probably
also
feel confused, but it's also kind of cool because you never
I
know
don't
what you're
know.
gonna get.
If you're a new player, do you even care what the drop mechanics are? Like,
Probably not, no. Like
if you,
maybe you could get like maybe there was this really rare thing in the game and you got it, you had no idea it was rare. You just thought it was cool and
yeah,
you wore it because it was like fashion skate, but there could also be like maybe there's this other thing that gives you a rare drop automatically at a certain KC, or maybe first KC, and you think you get really lucky on something rare. Like like I would love to see like what's going through a new player's mind who might not be
I would
well
love to know
informed.
that too.
Yeah,
Actually, that's why I love watching Alien Food and
yeah,
have you been seeing Mad Season Show?
yeah.
Who's a WoW player who
I was
started?
just about to comment on him. Yeah, his videos are so enjoyable because just
I
watching
know.
him fuck
Seeing
up the
someone who's
easiest
not.
things, I just love it.
Yeah, and how long he's farmed cows for.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Oh,
so
that makes me
wholesome.
so happy.
Yeah,
It really is.
yeah. And you know, sometimes I'm like thinking in my head like, is he gonna get discouraged and like not want to play in the game anymore because there's like because he's forgetting items,
Maybe.
going back and forth to the bank, and I'm like, maybe that's something that discourages people. But so far, it's he seems to really like a lot of those
Yeah,
aspects,
but I
and
think it's also the perfect sort of game for him as a player.
mm,
Like if you're a neurodivergent MMO grinder sort of person, yeah,
yeah,
this game is going to absolutely slap for you. That's you can do
yeah,
the farming cows to make studded bodies to sell to a general store, and that could be your moneymaker, and you're gonna have fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I love that though. It would be such a treat to just be in his position again. Like
I
lose your
know.
memory and just start playing this game over again.
Everyone would love to do that, right? To be able
Yeah.
to discover the stuff again.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's magic. And that's because we get that on new releases. Like
Mm-hmm. But
when the
it's
Coliseum
not
came out
perfect
and no
though,
one it's not the same, but
because
it's close enough, right? Is
we
that I can
vote on
go
a
in and
lot of things. Like we know what rewards are
yeah,
coming to what boss, and
I guess so.
we kind of
Yeah.
see mechanics in different places that are used again with other bosses, so we kind of know how to solve them. Maybe it's slightly different, but kind of have the
I
same
guess it's
idea.
as close as we can get. It'll never be
Yeah,
the same though.
yeah, I agree with
It'll never be
that.
the
Yeah,
same. I can't go back to be Iban's blasting Zolra and trying to figure out how I deal with snakelings.
yeah, yeah.
I can't get that moment of my first step on bossing again.
Did he not bring recoils on the first fight or something?
I don't remember what I did. I'm sure I did, but like I just remember that being a real struggle. And now I'll do Zora on account with basically nothing, and I'm not going to think twice about it. But
Yeah,
it's such a different thing looking at this game that we've played and put so many hours into now versus when we hadn't played it and put so many hours into it, and the things that are challenging, the things that are fun, the things that are mysterious. And
exactly.
going just to touch on that drop rate thing again, like if a new-ish player gets to Perilous Moons and like, do they know it's got dupe protection? Do they care it's got dupe protection? Or do they do a chest and get a drop and think, oh cool, I got a thing? Probably the
Yeah,
last one.
yeah.
And like, it's got different mechanics to other bosses. The drops work differently, but you don't need to know that they work differently. You can just go do the boss, and then sometimes you get a drop, and you're like, cool, I got a drop.
Mm-hmm. No, I get that. Yeah, they're really not gonna care about that stuff for sure. Yeah, they're not gonna know. They're not gonna care. They're just gonna do what they think is fun, which is, I guess, the best part about it for sure.
Yep, we all aspire to be like that.
Yeah, yeah. I think the best things that they can do to help new players is just make like explanations on some things a bit better. Like watching
Yeah.
Mad Season and
Actually, have you seen the skill guides? If you click on a skill
yeah.
now, it starts with a skill overview.
Oh, really? Like a
Yeah, it's like a
okay,
super
yeah,
recent
yeah.
change.
I see
Is
that.
like if I go into Herblore, it's like the first thing it says you must complete Druidic Ritual Quest before you can use Herblore. First thing it says in the skill guide.
Oh,
It's
perfect.
never
Yeah,
said that before until like a few weeks ago.
yeah, yeah.
You
They're
just
definitely
didn't
doing
know
it.
that.
Yeah,
It's just like the first requirement was level 3, and you're like, okay, what do I do at level 1? You have to know beforehand, but now it'll tell you. And I think that sort of thing is really
Mhm.
helpful. But I think if like we're talking about PVM and bossing sort of stuff, I don't know, there's different. Is someone who's new to bossing is very different than someone that's new to the game because it's just not the thing you start with.
Yeah,
And for people that are new to the game, these like you click on a skill and it tells you how to do it now. I think that's actually a really, really important update that most people probably don't even know this is a thing, is that you can click on a skill and it now tells you how to do the skill.
yeah. I think I
But I
must
think
have
that's
brushed
really
over
important.
that. That must have been this last week's update because I think I read something similar because I always read the updates
Yeah, it's
and just
very,
glossed
very
over it.
recent. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it's like this last week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but it's less than a month old and it's really
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
But with PVM mechanics, it's kind of important that you can problem solve the mechanics by seeing what it does.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh, like
what's an
the
example
prayer
for
orbs
this?
in chambers, like the red, blue, and green
Yeah.
orbs. I remember when they first came out, there was nothing in the chat box that said anything,
Mm,
but like after a month or so, I think they put in where it says like a accurate
like,
ball or
yeah. a sphere of aggression
magical
towards you,
or
and
aggression, yeah, something like that, and for each one, so you can kind of pinpoint
yeah,
what
I
your
still
prayer is
think
going to be.
those aren't great. They're
No, they're not great, but yeah, the fact that it wasn't in the
like
game when it first came out was like,
anytime you take a learner to chambers,
mm,
they never get those prayer orbs right ever.
yeah, yeah.
That's the one thing that they just don't see it. They just take a big hit, and you're like, "Oh, what was that?" Or you start yelling at them, "Mage, mage, 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 mage," and then they just never pray in time.
Mhm.
It's
And
always the
they're like,
prayer
"Oh,
orbs
my
that they
prayer
don't.
is off." Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's some
This.
mechanics that are very readable. Like when you first did Vardorvis and the things popped up on your screen, you just click them. The like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you call that attack, the capture attack. Like, that's instantly readable. You know exactly what to do. And no one told you how to do that. You
Hmm.
just saw a thing, you've got an intuition about how you might deal with this, you click on the things, and you do it, and it works. And it's really fun. And like the manticores in the Colosseum is they ready 3 attacks and they're very clearly colored, and then it throws them in the same order.
Hmm.
A manticore is a very readable NPC. It's difficult to deal with, but it makes sense how it works.
Do they have like
Like you might not know it exactly. You might not know it sees you and then it readies after 5 ticks. It readies them and then 5 ticks later. You
mhm,
might not have that exact knowledge, but you can see it readies 3 projectiles and then it throws them, and you can pray against it.
mhm. Yeah. Does it has different shapes for the projectiles too, right? So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
always think about like colorblind people. I'm not
I
colorblind
never think
myself,
about
but
that.
I think about that a lot
I
because
mm,
sometimes they put in things that I'm just like a colorblind person would not know what the hell to do here because there's no other way of
oh yeah,
associating
that
things.
reminds me of the color matters a lot, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna go
Cerberus
back to
ghosts.
Vardorvis again.
I remember
When
another
you go,
YouTuber, Dabe. He's
yeah.
colorblind, and he was doing Cerberus many years ago. And he couldn't do Cerberus because he had no idea what to do at that part. But
Mm,
they ended up putting like weapons on the ghosts to signify like what their
right, I
combat
didn't
was.
even know that.
And he had a big zoom in. He zooms in real far on Cerberus and stands like right where the ghosts spawn, so he can see that better.
Makes sense.
So yeah, I mean, it might have been starting with him that I started thinking about how colorblind people interact with the game, but yeah, it's
Yeah, that's really
very interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because for me, the color matters a lot.
Oh,
Like
absolutely. Yeah.
when I'm gonna go do Vardorvis again. When Vardorvis came out, all of the mechanics make sense. He throws axes at you, dodge those axes. He
Hmm.
puts spiky things on the ground, don't stand on the spiky things. And then a little head pops out and it fires a blue projectile at you. And I prayed mage and I took damage. And I'm like, okay, that was weird. He does again. Then I prayed mage because the projectile was blue.
Hmm.
If that projectile was green, I would have got it instantly. And things like that, I think, should be consistent throughout the game.
Yeah.
Is you see a green projectiles are prey ranged. Red projectiles are prey melee. Blue projectiles are prey mage.
Yeah. It's like Soda Seg.
And
Red is mage and black is
yeah,
range. This is very weird. Like
and I
things
think
like
that sort of
the big bomb coming out is like fine. Actually, that's just a regular attack. But like, I guess maybe Zuck, but that you can't really pray against that. I'm giving
uh,
bad examples here. You go on with what you're saying.
when I'm wanting to deal with, like, when I'm fighting a boss,
Yeah.
a new boss, this is when they release something. I never want to fail because I didn't see something or didn't understand something. I want to fail because I didn't either react fast enough, I wasn't skilled enough to deal with this combination of things,
Hmm.
or that I just didn't have the problem solving to deal with this problem it was showing me. But I always want to understand how I should deal with that problem. I want to be able to look at it and go, oh, I should have prayed mage 1 tick earlier, or I should have stood here, or I should have done that switch faster. I wasn't fast enough on that. That sort of thing. That's the sort of, you know, combat that feels good to me, is knowing what the problem is and then having to deal with it. But when I just don't know what the problem is, that's a lot less fun. So any mechanic that's just not telegraphed well enough that I just don't see it happen,
Mhm.
I find that very unfun. Anything that I can just not see happening, I don't have fun dealing with it. I think everything should be very readable and obvious about what's going to happen, and the difficulty should be dealing with it, not seeing it in the first place. And I think
Yeah.
most of the time they've been really good with that recently. But that's my general philosophy on what I find fun in a mechanic.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, I feel like they don't hit the nail on the head every time they release a new boss with that, but they like that's definitely that
Generally,
you
they've been fixing that
yeah,
thing
you can see
recently now.
fixes, yeah,
Yeah.
whenever they do mess up like that. Because that's definitely that's core right there. That's something that every boss should like as far as
Oh,
like learning a boss, they need
yeah.
that
And
for sure.
even for farming a boss, like
Mhm.
this reminds me again of Leagues of the Echo Calphite Queen. When like it attacks you with like ranged and then or melee, I don't remember, and then it changes every now and then it throws one mage attack and you have to pray against it. And it's got a sound cue. You hear that mage sound, you pray mage, and you go back to your regular prayer. Pretty normal mechanic.
Mhm.
And when it fills up its energy bar, it does a special. But when it fills up the energy bar, it also plays the same sound as the mage attack. And once I got comfortable at the boss, I'd hear the mage sound, I'd pray mage, and I'd get hit by the special because didn't have a unique sound. And that sort of made me realize how important sound cues can be as well.
Yeah.
In just making it obvious that, oh, this is the special attack, you should deal with the special attack the way you deal with the special attack. And then it becomes about your timing of running it in and out under the boss and getting to the safe areas at the right spot. And then we get that beautiful rhythmic flow that farming out good bosses in old school RuneScape has.
Mhm. Yeah. That reminds me of something as well. Talking on the sound point, one of my
Mm.
Twitch viewers the other day said that another streamer told him that like sound, like having your sound turn on was like as important as like F keys.
It's
Would you
really
agree with that?
important.
Yeah.
I would. I, in, so probably the longest game I've played in my life has been World of Warcraft. I played World of Warcraft
Mm.
basically since it's what like took over RuneScape for me when RuneScape was just RuneScape. Is
Yeah.
I was playing RuneScape and I saw my cousin playing World of Warcraft and I'm like, oh my god, what is that? I have to play that, and I've played it ever since. And in that game, I used to play with no sound on. And ever since I switched to using sound in it, I really understood how important sounds can be. And that has translated to old school RuneScape 2 is getting that information in different ways is so important.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree too. I definitely like you can get away with most content without sound until you get to like
Yeah.
raids. But like
And
you're still gonna have a
you can
better
even
time
get away with
probably.
no sound.
Yeah. Like you
But
said,
like,
like grinding a boss, you get like very used to certain things and you just automatically do it. So definitely grinding a boss can be beneficial to have like a sound cue because you're not paying full attention. You're just doing this boss over
yeah.
and over. Definitely helps keep it
And
more
just
relaxed.
that that like extra layer of feedback of when you attack or when you deal with a mechanic and the sound happens with it just reinforces this connection to what you're doing.
Hmm.
Like when you do anything in real life, everything you do makes a sound. You might not pay attention to the sound, but it does make a sound. And that builds that connection with that action. And the same thing is equates to the game, is that when everything you do has a sound, you are more connected to something without having to like specifically think about it.
Yeah, that's crazy. I actually didn't think about that. Like literally everything in your real life obviously has a sound connected to it. Like and then in a video game and you don't have a sound connected to something you do it, that could be
Yeah,
definitely
I mean
like
I deal with that a lot
it's crazy.
as a musician. Like things sounds happening when I perform an action is like the most important thing. That is what music is.
Yeah,
So
literally. Yeah. But
I think
I
I
could even think
interact
of
with that
that
more the most.
like day to day, like turn on your coffee maker and it like starts heating up and you get that sound. I feel like I know the perfect amount of time it takes before like it's ready. And that's just happened
Yeah,
over time because I'm like hearing it as I'm like doing other stuff in the morning. Stuff
exactly.
like
And the
that.
same thing happens with your gaming is when you're fighting a boss and
Yeah.
you hear a sound, you internalize the amount of time it's going to be required until you need to do the next action from that sound cue, and you don't have to think about it. You don't have to sit there counting my
Mhm.
coffee's going to be ready in 10, 9, 8. You just like hear the sound and you don't think about it, and at some point you know my coffee is ready.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to think about it too. And definitely as a musician, I could see that being huge. Like I should have known
It's
what you were gonna say just
I'm
because of that about the
I
sounds.
kind of want to do a video about, I'm not sure, it's such a complicated topic about how being a musician affects playing old school RuneScape.
I mean, I
Because
feel like I know a
every
lot of
time I,
musicians that play, so that it makes a
like,
lot of
it is
sense.
inherently a rhythmic game,
Yeah,
but at the same time, like, that helps, but it also holds you back because it doesn't react in the same way that musical expression does, whereas musical stuff is very instant. The sound is happening as you perform these actions, whereas when you're playing RuneScape, you make a click, and then on the next 0.2 interval, that's when the thing happens.
true. Yeah,
And if you like change something to be 0.01 seconds earlier when you're playing music, okay, 0.01 is too short of a time. Actually, no, that's a perceptible amount of time. Just,
yeah,
just over the threshold. But like, if you that fraction of a second, you move that fraction of a second earlier playing music, and it changes things. Things feel different. Meanings can be different. In RuneScape, that doesn't change anything, and that gives you this leeway to do things in different ways, but also holds you back from that micro skill expression. It's like it's got positives and negatives, and it's really interesting. And I think about it a lot, but I have no idea how to actually make this into a coherent thing for other people to understand.
yeah. I feel like that would be a cool video though.
I think it would too. I think
Mhm.
that video would be amazing. And I think I'm one of the best people to have the opportunity to make it.
For sure.
But I just don't know how.
Yeah, I mean, definitely like video making for sure. Like you never, you obviously there's like hindsight that you're always thinking about. Like, what am I gonna
Yeah.
forget? Especially like I've made
Hmm.
guides before and been like I should have done something different, but
Yep.
but you don't always know it till it's gone.
There's
But
always, and sometimes someone will put that in the comments, is
mhm.
like you make a, like I recently made a Coliseum guide, and you see someone put a comment as, oh, you should have included this. And I read it, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I should have included that, but I can't do it now.
Yeah, it's tough.
Oh.
It's tough. I've been making like these quick guides on my second channel, the one that this one's gonna be posted
Mm.
on. Um, just like minute long things, just because I feel like there's not much that I can miss in just like a minute explanation of
Yeah.
something, but there's so much I can miss for sure. Like there's been so
Yeah.
many things like, oh man, I should have done differently, but they're so quick that it's also just like people
Doesn't,
are getting
you to be expected
most,
to be missing things.
yeah,
Obviously, this 1 minute guide doesn't have all of the information.
yeah,
So you get just the important bullet points is this is what matters, do this.
yeah, exactly. And I'm someone who loves quick guides because like I open up a
Mm.
guide and it's like the thing I want is on, it's like an hour
Minute
later.
6.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I gotta search for it. Whereas like
Yeah,
having a quick thing, like you just
I also
get
want
the
to get into
information.
making guides more, but
Yeah,
for different reasons. Is I don't think most guides serve beginners very well in a ways, or also don't serve Iron Men very well. Where
true.
there's lots of the time they'll start with a gear setup and they're like, these are the items you bring, but they don't tell you like these are the things you should focus on in getting the setup that works for you. I think that's one thing that guides can improve, and I think I could do really well with. And also, just rather than teaching you how to do a boss, I want to do guides that teach you how to learn the boss. And like, not go in and kill it like this, but like go in and focus on this little thing. And once you can do this little thing, then focus on this aspect. And I think that's what I tried to do with my Coliseum guide, and I want to do with more things in the future too.
Mm-hmm.
But haven't got to actually doing that yet, and I don't know what content would be good to do guides for, and I could actually
It's
help
hard.
people.
Yeah,
And
it's the one thing that's hard about guides is like sometimes if you're too niche, your guide's not gonna get like any views. If it's
yeah,
too specific, it kind of needs to be a bit more broad in order to like actually get there. Because I mean, you can make
yeah,
something super specific. You could make a Chunkman's guide to
I
doing
could
herb
teach you
lore, and you're gonna have,
specifically.
and you might
Yep,
have 5 people who love that video, but you have 5
you're
views
right,
on
and
it.
it could be a very detailed, long video. It could have lots of information. It'd be easy to make because I already know everything about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not actually gonna help anyone.
Hmm. It's
And I
yeah,
think
it's tough, but
yeah, I think the
um,
thing I'd be good at with guides is guides specifically for people who are taking their first steps into stuff and are not trying to master it.
mhm.
Because
That's
like,
definitely good. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's good to, yeah, just have a general, like, this will get you your first few kills kind of thing, and then from
yeah,
there,
that sort of
these are the
thing.
steps you need to take to get better instead of
Yeah,
just
and
telling
maybe
them.
not even the steps to get better, because I think the sort of the mastering high level content sort of thing,
Mhm.
other people are going to make better guides than me for that. And it doesn't mean that me making a guide too wouldn't be valuable, but I don't feel the need to fill a niche there is because like in my air quotes real life, I'm a guitar teacher. That's how I pay the bills.
Mhm.
And so I spend my days teaching people who are totally new to a skill how to get a grips with this difficult thing. And most of the time as a guitar teacher, I'm not teaching someone to perfect that Beethoven symphony or whatever it is. It's it's okay, this is how you make your string ring out and not make a buzzing sound. That's the thing that most of the time I'm actually doing is helping people with those very starting basic steps that they can then build from in the future. So I think I'd be able to do guides in a way where I can give someone a starting basis of you could go in and get a boss kill with this guide, but mostly the guide is there to give you a starting point of understanding that then if you go and watch another guide later and you can master the content, that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
can definitely
in my
see that too. That's kind of what I'm. I mean, mine's kind of the opposite. Like I am trying to do like these um high
yeah, I'm
level
not
kind
trying
of
to make
things.
my
So I
guides
do.
quick or high level.
Yeah, yeah. So
Is
I see the opposite being some like a necessity that people need as well. So
yeah, and same thing with music is the more sources you draw from, the better. You should watch lots of guides before you, not necessarily should watch lots of guides before you try something, is you will gain a benefit and get better at something from taking advice from multiple sources.
mhm.
That's what I actually mean. Is if you want to get better at the Coliseum, watching my Coliseum guide is not the way to do it. Watching four people's Coliseum guides, that's going to help you. Is seeing what different people think so you can get your own understanding really of the content better and find what you find to be important. That's really what's going to improve you as a player.
Yeah, no, that's very true. It's very true.
Yeah, so having those different ways to go about things is super important for guide making, not because it makes your guide the best, but to try add to that body of knowledge that's so
Yeah,
good in this
definitely.
community.
Yeah, add
Is
value instead of like trying to just be the
yeah,
best,
don't try
or
take over and
remake
be the
a guide
exactly.
to be
Is
better or
you don't
something.
try
Just
do the best one.
yeah.
Try just add to what's already there. There
Hmm.
are 100 Vardorvis guides, and you can watch any subset of them as long as they're trying to focus on different things, then you're going to gain value from all of them. And if you just try and make the same guide but better, you're probably going to fail.
Most of the
Or
time,
maybe you
yeah.
don't. Maybe you do make the Vardorvis guide that everyone goes to in the future. Maybe you go to the Sync solo raids guide, or was it Sync that made the, or
He
was it
does have a
Exact?
really good
Oh, I don't
one.
remember.
Zinc has one.
There's
Sync has one, and I think No Monkey has one that's pretty popular too for like
Yeah,
more
like there is
lower
a
level
chance
stuff.
that you
But
end up with
yeah,
the guide that everyone goes
yeah,
to, but
Exact
you
had the
probably
Inferno.
won't.
That's the one.
Yeah,
I used his a
actually,
bit,
the
but
Inferno, Atticon's first Cape Fridays, that was so good. If anyone's looking to get into the Inferno, highly recommend Atticon's first Cape Fridays.
I've heard a lot of people say that. Yeah.
Yep, that's what helped me the most. Like that, it helped me keep calm during the Inferno and understand. He's just like, focus on this thing. Yeah, there's a lot going on, but just like shoot the melee with your blowpipe, you'll be okay. And it turns out I use that a lot in the Inferno. A melee digs to me, and I click on it, and
Definitely,
everything's
dude.
okay.
Yeah, those
Like,
meleeers, man, they'll throw a wrench into whatever situation you have. Sometimes all you gotta
yeah,
do is just DPS them and kill them.
don't panic.
Yeah,
Just
don't
like,
can't
and
panic,
his
kill
guys,
them.
his first Cape Fridays helped me not
Yeah,
panic and actually just understand that there are important things and I can focus on this. And there's a lot more to learn. Those first Cape Fridays, they're not trying to be a mastering the Inferno guide. It's like, I'm just going to do an Inferno and I'm going to talk you through the one important thing that I'm focusing on at each point. And yeah, that helped me a lot.
awesome, great advice. We are running a bit long here, so I just want to do one
Okay.
more thing. I want to know who your favorite creators are, if you watch many YouTubers, chunk
I
accounts
watch
or not.
very, very many YouTubers.
Yeah.
Like, if we start with chunk account stuff, I watch pretty much any chunk account that you could possibly think of, obviously inspired by Limpwit and Verf being the big ones that basically everyone in this community follows, and even the original Puka guy or Alex Bailey videos. I watched those when it came out, like back in the heyday of chunk account being a new thing, and loved all that. Most recently, been really enjoying Grayson Only Knows series, and where are some other chunk accounts? I'm just going to my subscribing and scroll down.
Yeah, go through the
For a sort of a
list.
different take on it, I've been watching Shifty's stuff. Just I like checking in, seeing where he's at every now and then. It's a very different experience for watching chunk account gameplay.
Yeah, for sure. Love Shifty.
Let's go for one more chunk account. I'm gonna go for Drip Quest, who's been doing a chunk account in Varlamore as well. And hard to stop at some point, but you know, I can't just name every chunk account, so I'm gonna pick a couple. Sorry if I didn't name you. There's lots
There's
of
so
amazing
many
chunk
great
creators.
ones.
There's
Yeah.
so many. Like, this community it's such a nice community of just people supporting each other and watching each other's videos. Like, if you make a chunk account, you make a video, you join the chunk Discord, whatever, you could just, there's so many people doing the same thing and all supporting each other. It's such a nice community. Like, it's
Definitely,
wonderful.
yeah.
And then if we go to not chunk accounts, Tetrascapes recently, been watching her series on the collecting all the balls in
Balls,
RuneScape.
yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah, I love the short that she put out
It's
recently.
one of the
It's
funniest
hilarious.
series that I have ever watched, and she's only got like somewhere between 5 and 10,000 subscribers, sort of thing. Absolutely criminal. Go watch Tetrascapes. It's so good.
Awesome.
I'm trying to think of creators that are smaller than me to shout out, and
Yeah, definitely.
like, rather than the like ones that are like super
Oh, I love it.
inspires
Yeah,
me. Actually, I mean, let's go a little bit of both. Ones that have inspired me a lot as creators, Mudkip and Mammal. I just love their vibes.
definitely chill guys.
Okay, there we go. There's the big ones shouted out. And then let's say this is Landon, who's been doing the Equal Man, leveling all the skills together.
Equilibrium, yeah.
Always have, yep, the most beautiful looking skill page where all the numbers are the same. Yeah, there's some accounts that I've been really enjoying watching.
Yeah, so many unique ones too. And you've done different snowflakes, so makes sense that you watch all of them too. I do as well.
I love snowflake accounts. It does not need to be chunk accounts. And I don't think of myself as a chunk creator. I think of myself more as a snowflake creator, because my longest running series is actually my UAM by a lot. It's just that the chunk account, people love watching chunk accounts. Like I understand that, I do too. So that's the one that's been the most successful, but it's not like the one that I've put more time into or I relate to more.
I'll throw one out here too. I don't know if you've seen it yet. Plague Chunk.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. There's the West Arty start, right?
Brand new. Yeah. He's a good guy.
Yeah, I watched that.
Comes into my chat sometimes. Actually, I'm not gonna give a spoiler, but yeah, you guys need to watch episode 2 because I might be featured in it in some sort of way.
Ooh,
but
okay.
Yeah. Either way, it's been
watching that.
Yeah. Make sure you guys watch it. Been a pleasure talking to you, man. Crazy. I feel like we could go for like an extra 2 hours if we want to.
It's been 2 hours already, and yeah, I don't feel like I'm running out of things to say, which is unsurprising.
I know. Maybe I need to do part 2s at some point. Bring some people on again. So we'll save some stuff.
Plenty of people still to get through first.
I know.
This community is large. There's so many interesting people you could talk to. So thank you very much for choosing me to be one of those. I appreciate that.
No problem. What's something that people should comment if they made it this far, other than how they're doing? Because we did that earlier too. And
how many U-logs are in your bank? I have 21,000. You?
I have 0. But
okay, there we go. There's 2 answers.
Comment the U-logs in your bank. Make me very jealous. All right, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. All of Krak's socials will be in the description, so you can check that out. And we'll see you next time. Peace.
Catch you later, guys.